Are we looking on Facebook? Good group
I'm trying to wait until I get the notification.
and YouTube.
Yes, I tried it on all three
All three.
today. That's interesting. Yep.
Facebook.
Oh,
All right. I hear echo.
I'm sorry. You know that's me. I always forget.
Oh, it's all good. It's go time, y'all.
Yeah, we good on YouTube.
All right. Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. We appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We're going to start off with our first topic, which is should DNA tests be given at birth? Should DNA tests be given at birth? How you feel about that, Tawana?
I don't like the implication here, but I feel like a paternity test. I'm assuming that's what you mean to determine paternity of the child. I believe that it should be optional. I do not think that it should be mandated. It should be a part of it. I don't know if the implication is that people are lying a lot of the time, and so we want to just know up front that that's a real biological connection there. I don't know, but I just don't feel like I feel like it can be offered, but it shouldn't be mandatory, mandated. So that's just my opinion. We can't
Hey,
hear
I
you.
agree with that.
You on mute,
Tawana.
there.
I agree because the thing is, we mandating it for what? Like, it's not like it's truly a law or policy or anything. No rules are being broken. So
Right.
why mandate it? Again, I'm always say we're all born with our own free will and intellect. Hey, if that's what you so choose, or you and your partner or whomever that's part of your circle, who am I to judge? And the thing is, if we're judging that, and that also, we're gonna have to look back at what else are we now judging that we're mandating on what we should and shouldn't do. I don't think that we're in the business of being the morality police about things that we just don't feel good about. That someone should be penalized.
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing illegal about
Okay. Anton, should DNA tests be given at birth?
Absolutely. And I think that even if you just look at it, like take out of context the idea that we're looking at it from a moral perspective as far as like relationships or trying to determine paternity as it relates to relationships and things like that. If you take that out of the equation, and trust me, I'm going to add it back in so I can make my full point. But if you take that out of the equation and just look at it from the perspective of how we operate from a society and how we fund things, right? A lot of times it can clear the confusion as to whether or not the law, the courts, the social system is going after the right person, because you can't go back and try to mandate certain things happen. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the biggest issues that come along with men is they have the largest issue with the court doing things preemptively without justifying the root as to why they're doing it. So you're making me pay child support, even though whether or not I don't know if this is truly my child, for example. A lot of guys wound up having to continue to pay child support as it relates to a woman automatically having to put a man on the birth certificate in order to justify getting certain benefits, right? So before she could even do that, it's not up to her as to whether or not she can just automatically make this guy the automatic father of this child. Whereas we can proactively solve for a lot of the issues that we have to wind up spending countless resources and public tax dollars in court and all of these social programs that we're implementing, by being proactive and solving for it, by making that a mandate to make sure that we're truthful in whatever it is that we're doing. You don't have to take somebody's word for it. That's just from
it. Okay. Now, Anton, would this be something that is this optional, or across the board, all childbirths has to go through this process? Because the thing is like, what's the outcome of the FA hey, I'm with my lady. I know this is my baby. I want to think this is my baby. It's like, so I don't know. It kind of comes off as a little insulting. If like, who's the audience that we're catering to?
I think the more insulting thing is for somebody to think that it's their kid and it not be their kid, though. I think that because I always come back to the truth, right? I always come back to people should be honest with other people. Like that's just a very like if we just take out of context men versus women or how women feel and all of this, we just look at it from a very basic human level. I think that people should just be honest with people. Yeah. And I don't see any bad thing that comes out of forcing someone to be honest about what it is that they're doing, especially when we have, if we never had an issue in society where, you know, if Maury never got big, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? But a lot of times we have these conversations based off of the fact that there are so many issues, there are so many people taking advantage of the system, and there are so many guys that's complaining about the fact that, hey, that's not even my kid, or she has the ability to put me on the birth certificate as the father without my permission, and now I have to support this kid or go to court and fight retroactively as it relates to what it is that I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to say as I don't think that this is a circumstance, or I did take a paternity test later and now the court don't accept it. No guy gets refunded as it relates to child support or none of that. So just from a morality perspective, I think that it makes sense for that as a foundation.
Yeah, it's only fair. I mean, women have protection as well with the system, so you know why shouldn't the guys have it? Well, I wouldn't say guys, but just people in general. If you're telling the truth, then you should have nothing to worry about. So it's not going to make or break you if you do take that test. But what it is going to help is there's so many fathers out there that are fathering kids that's not there. So I think a situation like this would actually bring some, you know, closure in the beginning versus the end where they've been in this child's life and the whole time they're not the father.
I mean, are we really basing that off of Murray though? Like we just
I'm not basing off of Murray.
Yeah, we're just. Then I'm thinking, is this something that's coming from Washington?
Right.
This is a mandate across the United States, or is this state by state, city by city legislature? So
I think everywhere.
I think it goes back to the argument that you often make, though, B. Nix. When we use a scenario about like, you know, if the police was to come to your house or whatever, if you ain't get nothing, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you are on the up and up and you taking care of business and you honest and you truthful, because I think a lot of the times that we take out of the equation, the kids, they are the most important part of this. It don't matter about what I think. It don't matter about what she thinks. It matters about the responsibility that, you know, of whomever is the true party that's responsible to bear the true responsibility of raising these kids and putting them in the best position possible. It don't matter about how I feel. So that's why I say that I think that it is. And I take out of the equation the men versus women part of it. Because I just think that it proactively solves a lot of problems that we're dealing with in our society.
You know, I would somewhat support what you're saying, which I'm leaning toward what you're saying. If I feel like there was like a meta-analysis of how many people have wrongfully been selected as the father and have not. Because the thing is, even though we're not basing this on science, but I feel like we have to have some data point as to how many people have actually been wronged through the system that you're talking about, Anton. Right. And I'm not saying that it will be regional, but that will be something I'm curious about.
Because it is one guy that's documented, for example, that is highlighted in that whole group that we were talking about, the men turning away and all of that other type of stuff, where he is literally jailed. He was literally jailed as a result of not being able to fulfill his child support obligations, even though he was at birth shown to not be the father. So even if it's only one guy, is that enough for us to be able to justify it?
No.
It doesn't make it right.
Not a mandate. No.
It doesn't make it right. So you're absolutely correct. It doesn't
make
it right. But
what's the number? How many guys have to, or not even, I'm not even going to say guys. How many situations has to be brought forth where the children has to grow up and try to figure out who their parent is?
Yeah.
How many circumstances have to happen to where we say, okay, that's enough of them? That's my thing.
You know what? Like, I'm going to sound real biased saying this, but it's just because I truly don't know, but I'm just going with my gut on this one. Is this only just a black folks issue?
Well, you
a ton
I
of
think it's
and you see
everybody.
Murray, it's
I think it's
they
everybody.
all
issue at
we
all.
all go through this, and I mean,
No, but I wonder, like,
so
not to say it doesn't happen. It's not married to ethnicity, but
yeah.
who has a higher uptick of these type of situations happening? Is this more with Black and brown community? Is this white, Asian? You know,
I bet you somebody in every race got somebody else raising their kids that's not the daddy. I'm serious. I'm telling
but I
you.
wonder how like
Because
prevalent
a lot of women, right, will hide that, especially if they come from families where, you know, maybe that legacy, it would like maybe it could like compromise their legacy, or it could be some consequences for you having a child outside of your, you know, wedlock. So a lot of people might keep that secret. A lot of people may.
I don't know, and I feel like this is something Anton would say, and maybe I might be wrong, but is that the role of big government to make that decision?
I'm gonna tell you why though, because the whole idea behind government is that government is formed on the backs of the people that pay for it. Right? It's formed on the backs of taxpayers. So when we talking about, and again, I think that this is a bipartisan issue, and that no matter what side of the aisle you on from a political perspective, it affects everyone. Because let's just say somebody like me that's traditionally more conservative, that feel as though, you know, I don't like that so many people depend on the system. One of the reasons why we say that people are married to the government is because there is a process where women say the father is not in their life, and then it becomes the responsibility of the government to find who they think is the responsible parent or father in order to try to either get back some of these taxpayer dollars that they're funding these social systems, or to find the father to try to justify him taking care of his kids or giving some form of support, so on and so forth. But if you proactively solve for that by making sure that this person is actually who we are saying that they are, then I think that solves some of those issues and problems, whereas people aren't taxed as much. You don't have as many people depending on or married to the government, which ultimately proactively makes people more responsible for ensuring that every child has, you know, two parents.
You know what, Anton? I support that logic. And if anything, going back to like a deeper dive, if there was an opportunity where we could look at the amount of court costs that has went into these situations, lawyer fees that people have to pay out, where now, to the point you're making, by being proactive, this helps everyone involved. Exactly. This helps the father, the mother, the courts, the judges, and they could actually use their time more wisely toward real cases.
Yeah.
So I think at this conversation, we all agree that DNA tests should be given at birth, right?
No, I don't agree with that. I understand the reason.
You understand the reason, but you still don't agree?
No, I mean, don't, like, if me and my family don't want to do it, you can't just make me have.
That'll be the only thing. Is there an opt-out clause?
Yeah, like, you need to be able to make your own decision. I just don't.
Okay,
but if we test for everything else, because think about it, Tawana, we test for other stuff like jaundice and other type of things before you just get dismissed from the hospital. This could be one of those tests that is taken before the mother or whomever and the baby is discharged. I said,
I mean, it's not invasive. It's really an easy swab, right? Like, you just go in there and do the DNA. Like, I really don't think that that's the issue. To be
what
honest.
If the father's not present? Is the father mandated to be at the hospital?
Right.
I mean, my father wasn't. Well, he wasn't there. I mean, he came.
And you know what they say, if you don't sign the birth certificate. So, like, if there is doubt and you don't sign the birth certificate, then
because I don't even know. I remember. Like, think about it. We kind of like old heads. Like, my father didn't sign my birth certificate.
Right.
He didn't come on time. He came late.
No.
He came later.
He wasn't legally tied to you at that moment. Right. You know.
But I mean,
it's automatic when you sign the birth.
What do you do if the father isn't there? Is it like a 10 days that the father must report to the hospital in order to take this test?
Because all fathers don't show up, right?
I just think that because, for example, they use the birth certificate in order to determine whether or not this person should be responsible for taking care of the child. You should not be able to make that birth certificate permanent or indicate that this is what it is until we can fully prove and justify it. Especially, you know, when you take the perspective and say, what if I want to opt out? well, do you also opt out the possibility of getting benefits on the backs of the government when you don't want to participate in what it is that they're requiring in order for you to get what it is that you want? Like, you can't have it both
I would
ways.
say if there's a penalty. So that's the thing. We would have to put some teeth behind it where, hey, you know what?
Well, that's
Even if
kind
you
of
don't
punitive too, because it's like you really taking away my right to opt out, because you're saying, well, yeah, you can opt out, but then I'm going to punish you for opting
I'm
out.
actually saying you shouldn't
That's not
opt out.
necessarily punishing you to say that.
You
Okay,
shouldn't
so
opt.
you
I
saying
mean,
that
there's other
you
tests there that
say-
you have to take that you can't opt out of.
That's true.
Yeah, you can opt out of vaccinations though. You can opt out of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can opt out of even some of the testing. You don't have to do it.
But
You
my
know,
point,
you can stop it from happening.
my point is that, like, I just don't think that people can have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
if you decide that you want to go down, so you can't stop anybody from having 10 kids. You know what I'm saying? And having all 10 of those kids at some point being on some kind of social service that helps them. There's a lot of people that say, oh, that's wrong. And we may morally not. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you start putting parameters, or you start trying to help people help themselves as a result of the decisions that they're making on their own, just because they say, I want to, and can't nobody tell me what to do?
It's a slippery slope with me, because it's like you violate my rights to make the decision. And it's also like I can't agree to, you know, just automatically make everyone. Some people are not comfortable with scientific testing and things like that, and some people just don't even, you know, want to involve their children with it. So it's like, why
You know what?
Until it came COVID, then they said, trust the data, trust the scientists.
Yeah.
They comfortable.
Yeah.
And
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
the thing
But you
is,
see how many
even though
people
it'll
don't.
never happen, but it's almost like if you opt out, guess what? You waive your right to get child support ever.
I agree.
Yeah, that's it.
Your right is
like
That's
that.
ridiculous.
That, you know
It's
what,
not
in order to
ridiculous.
opt out, you have to sign the waiver to
Yep.
say that, you know what, you now remove you're now ineligible. You have now turned in your eligibility to
So y'all
ever file for
y'all gonna
support.
penalize people for not wanting to take.
Hey, that means you're on your own.
I mean, find out
You're
the
on
truth.
your
It's
own
not
for all
going to
18
hurt you, but
years.
find out if it's your child or not.
I just
And
don't
maybe
know why.
some people don't see it that way. You violating their rights, taking away their right to.
No, we're not. You know what? That would be my only clause. You know what? Go ahead. Don't take the test, but sign this here document
That's punitive.
that goes into your file along with the birth certificate saying that you opted out. So don't come knocking on my doorstep. Don't come to my doorstep asking for a handout
There you go,
2
Nick.
years later.
That's punitive. That's punitive. I don't agree.
Hey, you got to
That's
see
crazy.
it through. That's
Hey,
the only
Nick's- hey,
thing
Nick's for
sometimes
president.
with things with government,
Nick's
they
for president.
compromise and they don't get everything they want. This is something we got to see
I
the
vote
whole
for it.
process through.
I definitely vote for B Nix.
Hey, you in, man?
Yeah.
I'm about to write your name. I'm about to write your name in on that one, man.
Oh, man. Hey, tell you.
You guys are violating people's right
No, we not. Because we give you the option to opt out.
with a punitive,
Hey.
a
Cause and effect
punitive.
to everything in this world.
All right, y'all.
Crazy.
Moving on to
Facts.
the next topic, y'all. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. If you just joined us, we just got through finishing up. Should DNA tests be given at the birth? And now we're moving on to our next topic, which is lie, lying, lied, and liar. Lie, lying, lied, and liar. I know it's a mystery to you guys on the panel. I'm gonna break this down for you. In a relationship, when someone lies, they become a liar. They have to always hear, you've lied. And because they've lied, they will remain a liar in that person's eyes. I think there's like a deeper meaning to why people lie. And I want to start off by asking you guys your personal opinions. Why do people lie? Be next.
I got two answers. The first thing, people lie in order to protect the significant other's feelings, right? To protect their feelings. So I didn't tell you the truth because I knew how you would respond. So I'm doing it for your own good. I don't care for that because, like, who are you to say that you're doing something on my behalf? Give me the option. The second answer is that people lie because, hey, you don't want someone to know what's happening in the dark. You know, so I think that it kind of goes back to what is your intention? What is the intentionality of the lie? Is it more so to protect the person, or really to get away with doing something that's mischievous or that shouldn't happen?
Okay. Tawana, in your personal opinion, why do people lie?
Me, a combination of reasons, like B. Nick said. Sometimes it's to cover up embarrassment. Sometimes it's to help people feel better about themselves, or to have other people look at you differently than what you are. You're trying to cover up something, you're trying to protect someone. In your mind, you're protecting them by lying. A lot of people lie just, to protect family members, friends, themselves. So, there's no one reason why people lie. Some people are just pathological liars and selfish. And some people, really are just trying to, think that they're doing the right thing. And some people have good intention, but, end up doing something negative by lying to cover up whatever it is. So, yeah, it's a variety of reasons to me.
Anton, personal opinion, why do people lie?
I'm gonna approach it a little bit differently, and I'm gonna say that I don't think it's any of those. I think all of those then become the secondary reasons as to why they live in that lie. But I think the overwhelming majority of people's behaviors, especially as it relates to lying, comes from they haven't been shown the benefits of the truth. And so a lot of times what you see, especially on social media and in society, you see people living in a lie and then them showing the benefits of that lie. But nobody actually highlights and shows the benefits of the truth, which ultimately lead to people living in whatever it is that they want to live in to ultimately get the results that they think they're going to get. But I think that people just haven't been shown the benefits of the truth. So, for example, I've always believed in my entire life, ever since I was a little kid, that I would never lie to a woman in order to get her to sleep with me. And so the idea behind that has always been, I know that women will initially be appalled by the idea of me telling them exactly what it is that I'm interested in when I meet them, but they'll ultimately have way more respect, and I'm playing a long game, so I know that I'll get the prize from people, and I'll never have the repercussions that come with guys that lie in order to get what it is that they want, whether it be a woman scorned, whether it's creating a situation where she find out who you really is, and then the repercussions that come with that. But I just think that I'd rather have the 5% that's really feeling me for who I am versus 85% thinking I am something that I'm not, and then I have to keep up with that in order to justify how they're viewing me. So again, I just think that people haven't been shown the benefits of the truth, and they haven't had great examples to emphasize that versus what we glorify in society as people that highlight this 95% think I'm rich or I'm lying, I'm a lie to get what I want, and then they have to deal with the consequences later. It's just so much sweeter on the other side of the truth.
Hey, Anton, I had a question. So you mentioned about this is something that really just kind of is innate for you, that you just know that this is just who you are, who you were, and who you are right now. Like, was there a particular moment, or how was you introduced to knowing that, hey, I'm gonna dedicate myself to always being truthful? Like, where did that come from for you?
Good question.
This is gonna be the bad part. See, I thought I was doing good, but now I gotta introduce. But I gotta be honest. It came from pimps, and I've always been fascinated, not necessarily by the idea that of what pimps were doing. I thought it was deplorable how they were using women to get what they want, but I thought it was absolutely awesome that the overwhelming majority of them were honest as far as what it was that they were communicating, and that they were still getting the results. Because most people would say, I can't understand why that woman would be with him or why she would give him her money. And he would just be like, yo, this is what it is. And he would just tell her exactly what it is and so on and so forth. And I always been fascinated by the idea that they can be absolutely transparent in who they are, what their intentions are, and what ideas they have for that woman, and for her to still be dedicated to him. That fascinated me more than the other guys that was lying and then had to protect themselves retroactively because the results wasn't what the ultimate results wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So honestly, that's where it came from. I was just always fascinated by the idea that people was being honest with women and still getting what they wanted. That was from a very early age.
I don't know if they being honest. I mean, okay.
Hey,
I mean,
Anton,
I doubt that they're being honest. I feel like that is the last thing that they're doing. I think part of the whole idea of being a pimp is to manipulate and to lie to women. That's the whole entire idea and premise. So how can you say that
if you
and you learned your morality from them? Come on now. And we just let that slide. You just let that slide.
Morality plays no role in it. And that's why I said I don't necessarily agree with what they did. I don't think it's right what they're doing. I just think that it's impressive that people can be honest about what they say, how they want things to play out. And if you look at and have look at a lot of these interviews, because I look at interviews with like women that former prostitutes and all of that. It's a channel called Soft White Underbelly, where he try to help people get off the street and he interviews them and stuff like that. The idea behind it is that they understand exactly what they ask them. Like the women ask the guy to make them what they need to be to give them the courage to do what they want to do. Like they want to play that role in their head in order for them to go out and do the things that they're doing every day. So it's a misunderstanding for most people to think that these women don't understand what they're getting into. And of course, it's going to be some bad things. It's some bad people in every profession. But overwhelmingly, a lot of these guys.
I agree with you, but
no, I don't agree.
I think about the aspect of being truthful, but the thing is,
pimps are honest people.
But the thing is,
pimps are honest men.
A pimp, everybody doesn't have a pimp. Tawana, you don't have a pimp. Plenty of people don't have pimps. So the thing is, it's a woman that's wanting to have someone to be truthful. So the thing is, you got to respect the fact that someone is actually being upfront, honest about the expectations. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those like, hey, it may be somebody with a certain temperament that, you know what, this is where they at. They may be at their bottom right now. And I got this man that's giving me all the game I need to get from point A to point B. I'm going from being broke to how to get money.
Game does not equal truth. Game is not truth. Manipulation
I don't know that game.
Is not truth.
Game is truth. Is telling the truth game.
You just said game. I'm quoting you.
I didn't
you
say
said
that.
Game. You said game. So I'm telling you, game is not truth, and manipulation is not truth.
I don't think I didn't. If I said game, I didn't mean
to say game is up.
JR, let's rewind the
game is up.
Let's rewind the tape now. We're gonna go back.
No, I was saying like that's like are you considering that game? I said that's not game. Like that's just being truthful, unless you're saying that now being truthful that's part of the game.
Okay.
Game is not necessarily.
I disagree with y'all, but that's fine. If y'all, that's your perspective.
Well, I don't know. Hell, I can't say I know pimps like that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, the woman can always opt out. So it's not like this is some mandate or something like that. It's a certain type of woman.
We talking about the truth versus lie.
Hey, Anton, I want to ask you a question.
That's the thing, though. Go ahead, JR.
Hey, redirect us. Okay. We're not even talking about pimps and hoes. So,
right.
JR, reset.
I'm about to go off.
Anton, I want to ask you a question. So you saying the entire time that you've been understanding the truth that you've never told a lie. You've never told a lie at all whatsoever. Been 100% honest your whole entire life.
Hey, man, he answered the question, bro. You asked him like 2-3 times the same question, like as if you don't believe him. He said, the man said what he said.
You gotta stick with it now. Hey, you can't go back.
I got one whooping by my father my entire life. My entire life.
You got what?
One whooping by my father my entire life.
Why? Why
did I get a whooping?
Yeah.
The reason why I got that one whooping was because I was just like cocky, and at some point you always try your father, like, yeah, you get to that age, that teenage age, whatever. But it had my thing is that very early he had established in me like, Anton, just be real with me and we can solve anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I never felt the need to be anything other than transparent. And it's the same way with my daughter because I can't see in my mind the benefits of it.
Yeah.
I can't see the outcome of anything that comes from it. Worst case scenario, she tells me no. And then I don't have to waste time with her, and I can move on to somebody that's actually interested in me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that
You know what, Anton? I support that logic. I feel I have two people that have introduced that to me. I will say that I have lied to people before, you know. But the thing is, just backtracking, not necessarily in a relationship setting, but my grandfather, he would always say, "Your word is your bond," right? Without your word, you have nothing. And there was a case, I think I was in high school, and I had needed some money for some event at school, right? And the thing is, it wasn't about the money that I lied about, but he said, "When did you know about this? Like, when did the school tell you you needed this money for this event?" I told him I just found out. He said, "Bullshit. You didn't just find out." And the thing is, you sitting up here lying to me. And the thing is, that's one thing I don't do. I don't do lying. So he said, your word is your bond. He said, somebody could be dead broke, but if this person gave their word and they being truthful, you got to honor it. So like I said, whether it's a homeless person, a pimp, hole, hell, the governor, whoever, but if you are giving your word on this how you feel, your truth is your truth. So that's my first person that I learned to be truthful. And the second person is really, man, my wife. At the time, of course, we wasn't married, but the thing is, she would have this thing where she would call them half truths, right? So the thing is, I wouldn't tell necessarily a lie. I just would not tell the whole story. So the thing is, again, I call bullshit. So that was the second person that introduced me to the fact that, like, all right, that's a half truth. Because technically, I could bullshit and say, like, I didn't lie to you, but you didn't tell me the whole story either. So the thing is, it's all about telling the whole story. So even to this day, I try to be truthful, and sometimes I may come off as long-winded, but because I want to make sure I'm not talking a lot, but I'm telling the whole story. Even when we talk on this show, I always try to tell the whole story about how I feel. So to me, hey, it's less stressful that way. And not just in relationships, but in life. But I had to learn that, though, Anton. I did not identify that until years later. And I now can look back at that lesson to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But at the time, it was like, no, let me just get this quick win and not tell her what happened or not tell my granddad why I need the money.
I don't even lie to like I got videos on my channel where I would give out $250 a day, and I would do this thing called $1 for a hug, and I would go out every morning to everybody that go out and work, and I would be downtown, and I would give $1, and I would hold a sign that say $1 for a hug, and they would be like, "What you mean? I'm not giving you $1." But no, I'm gonna give you $1 for a hug to get your day started right. But the thing about it is that, like, even with homeless people, I give out a lot of money, but if I don't want to get, or if I don't have the cash, whatever, I don't be like, oh, I don't have it. I'll be like, fam, I can't give it to you, bro. Like, I would just be real with them. Like, I'm not going. I don't want to practice or get in the habit of doing something that doesn't make sense for me long term, because eventually it grows and it's a seed and it grows into something that's much larger. And again, I just see the benefits of, like, even with my wife, like, if I see a chick that's bad, I don't be like, nah, I wasn't looking at her. I'll be like, man, she's fine though.
Can I say one thing? And then Anton, Tawana, I know you ready. But I just want to say one thing.
I'm gonna let y'all have this.
No, the thing is, like, Anton, the thing is, regardless of what age or whatever, how you kind of came about of, like, knowing this is who you are, this really goes back to you identifying that this is Anton Daniels and this is what I represent. It takes a while to get to a point in your life where you know exactly what you represent. If you still kind of, because remember the shit we was talking about with the self-deception and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. This is an element of the self-deception. I'm deceiving you because I still haven't figured out who I am, so I'm creating this image. And part of that image is the lie. So that's where the lie lies, with this image. So if I'm associating this deception with who I'm supposed to be, guess what? That lie becomes lying. And then guess what? I am the liar, because I got to keep the story going.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Tawana, I want to ask you, is there a difference between lying because you're selfish versus lying with the intent to hurt?
Sure. I mean, obviously, I don't even know if intention matters. I always tell people that I really don't care what your intention was. I mean, if you lied to me, you lied to me. Like, it doesn't matter to me if you lied to me because you didn't want to hurt me versus
so you
lied to me because you told me true. Like
What you
I
say,
don't want to do
Anton?
that. But say
Tawana's the hard one. People think that I'm the hard one. Tawana's the hard one.
I'm tough. Oh no, people tell me all the time because some people say that I'm too blunt and too honest with people, right? So I've over time kind of allowed people to tell me, give me that feedback, and I've tried to adjust and change. And then it drove me crazy because I felt like I was holding stuff in that I really wanted to say to people, and I was holding back when I really wanted to like go in. So I lost myself and lost some of my, my natural instinct to determine when people, BSing me. So I feel like I'm back to that. Like, no, I'm just gonna say how I feel, and then I'm just gonna lose friends or whoever else I gotta lose. But it's absolutely, to me, it doesn't matter. The intention to when you lie, you're a liar. Yeah, that's just what it is, and that's just how I feel. I don't really care.
I don't look at those as being synonymous with each other.
Well, to me,
I had a feeling you was gonna disagree with that.
Well, if you lie one time, I don't think you're a liar. No, what I'm saying is, if you've lied to me, even if you had a good intention for the reason you lied to me, it's not going to take away the pain or how I feel about it. And I'm talking about our family. I'm talking about family secrets.
Hey, can I throw in a
that
berry?
people lie about? But listen. Okay, think about this. If it's these family secrets that people cover up, right? And they can cover up huge secrets that can almost damage you, when you find out. And their reasoning for cover up the secret is always to protect you, and it's always to maintain privacy, and it's always in their mind a good reason why they didn't tell you something. Then you 30, you 35, or you find out later on in life, and it can really ruin your life. Some of these secrets. So regardless of the intention, to me, it doesn't matter. I just feel that it's a lie, and it's still hurtful, and it's still gonna sting.
Do you ever feel that, like, if you're the recipient of the lie, that you allowed yourself to be lied to? Like, do you feel that, like, because think about the example I gave with my grandfather, right? The thing is, he could have just let me lie to him, right? But he called me on it. Do you feel if you've been lied to, don't you also have a responsibility to call somebody out to say, like, nah, that ain't true. Nope, that's you lying. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, that goes back to the type of person. Is it your fault that you allow yourself to be lied to?
Yeah, I have a girlfriend that do that. She lies all the time. And one time it's so weird because I told her.
Y'all still girlfriend?
I got a lot of girlfriends, so she won't know.
Oh, okay.
She won't know who she is.
I don't know.
Let me just say this.
I just have to ask.
I'm not going to even say the exact story, but one time.
Squad?
Listen, one time I told a story. And she came back like a month later, and said the same story as if it was her who went through the situation. And I'm like,
call out?
I didn't. And so now I'm thinking about your situation, B. Nix, and what you said, because I'm like, now me and my friends talked about her. You know what I'm saying? Like we all talked about her. Like, she weird. Like, why was she? Who does that? Who recreates somebody's life and tells somebody's story like it's theirs? That's weird, right? But I didn't say anything in the moment, which I should have been like, no, that's my story. That's my life. You can't steal people's lives and just pass it off as yours. But I didn't. And I mean, and now I'd be looking at her like, is she lying? Is she recreating somebody else's story? Is she telling me the truth? So it does have me questioning that person.
You know what? Now that you told that, though, I will say that I have lied before. But it's not, and this is why I think that context matters. Because, like, for example, somebody have come to me and say, Anton, like, do you really think this, or am I this? You know what I'm saying? Like, did I affect you in this particular type of way? And I've said, nah. You know what I'm saying? When in reality, it's something that I should have probably been a little bit more forthcoming about. So, in that instance, I can say, yeah. And I'm sure that you can find different nuances here and there. But as far as like for the conversations that we're having, like to intentionally deceive someone for your own personal gain, I've never done that. You know what I'm saying? But the one caveat that I want to add to that though is, Tawana, I don't know. I think you're a little bit hard in that you don't think that context matters and the reason why. Because the reasons why is the understanding behind why it is that we You know what I'm saying? Able to digest how something is playing out. And I just feel like people can come back from things when they start to, or when they or be truthful. It's so easy to forgive, and that's why I just think that context matters. I think it's hard as it relates to that.
Yeah, I'm hard because once you lie, you can have the best intention, but I could care less.
Yeah,
you might as well have had bad intentions with me.
So why would somebody come back? So why would somebody come back? Let's say that I feel bad.
Don't tell me the truth. If you don't tell me the truth, then just hey, keep it moving. Because I'm gonna treat you.
Well, you know what?
That's why guys be like, skip it. I'm gonna just ride it out, sit here and try to fix the situation to come clean because she don't want to know the truth. I want
to know the truth. I don't want to know a lie. I don't want to know a lie, a bold-faced lie, and don't justify why you lied.
Fellas,
that's
any guy that I've gave advice to and say, yo, you need to go ahead and just be honest with her and fix it, I take it back. You gotta go.
Well, I don't know, but see, I think
situation by situation.
We talking about the truth, though.
But
we talking about lies.
But can we go back to like, because I admit there's been women that I have lied to that has allowed me to lie, and they've created the space for me to then become a liar.
That's right.
You know what? No harm, no foul, right? I had no repercussions. Nobody called me to the carpet. And then it's kind of like, if anything, it enabled the behavior. It's like, cool.
Hey, Nix, maybe you was a good liar. Maybe they didn't know.
Listen, because if I find out somebody lied, your life is a living hell.
Yeah, but you know what?
You are not going to be happy with me because I am the worst person to lie to. So, yeah.
Actually, I appreciate that. And not just from the aspect of who I'm dating, but whoever's in my circle. I want to be called out.
Yeah.
I want to know that we have a relationship where you can call me out to make me a better person. The thing is, if you allow me to do my thing and lie and continue to lie, I will run all over you. And
now, let me ask y'all this: is an omission? So let's say it's silence a lie, though, right? So, like, if you just don't want to comment, what you say? That's not a lie. I'm asking because I'm wondering. You know, if you just don't want to comment, right? You don't want to say anything because you just don't want to implicate yourself, or you don't want to talk about the situation, or you don't want to have to lie, but you know what happened, right? But you just refuse to get involved.
That's not a
Is that a lie?
If we defining a lie, that's not a lie.
Yeah, it's not a lie, but
that's something else, though.
You know, yeah. What is it?
I don't know. I got to think about it.
Because I've been in a situation where somebody said, if you withhold information from me, that's also a lie. If it's vital to the relationship, if it's important for someone to know, that's what they tell me. And I've never heard it until I was in that situation before.
Okay.
And it got me to think like, damn, like, is that true? Like, if you withhold information from somebody that they should know, is that considered
like you said,
lying?
JR, is situational. All this shit is situational. So I still don't want to couch that and nest it under a lie. I can't call that a lie. That's some other shit.
Right.
But it's not a lie.
If I got daddy issues, right?
Right.
But I don't feel comfortable talking to you about my daddy issues because I don't feel like our relationship is at that point yet.
That's not
omitting or lying to you.
No.
That's me wanting to participate in this level of conversation because your interpretation of where we at in the relationship and my interpretation of it is two different things. That's not a lie.
Yeah, it's not. And I admit, and you know, I'm the first one to say on this show some shit I don't care about. There are many cases in my life where I just straight up don't care. Is it a lie? No. Am I going to entertain it? Not at all. It's like, hey, it's whatever. As far as I'm concerned, is that a lie? No. But the thing is, if you're going to press me about it and you really want to know how I feel, I'm going to tell you. But the only thing is, I would say that maybe opposite of Anton and Tawana. And Anton going to talk about me about this because he's going to feel like this whole politician aspect. You know, I'm all about how to properly message and frame what I want to say. That's just who I am, right? Or who I've evolved into. So, like you said, Tawana, you're going to say it wrong. I may say it, but it may not sound the same way, even though we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Next, let me ask you this.
I've
Next,
always been told.
next, I'm gonna give you another example.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, let's just say that you have your girlfriend, for example.
Mhm.
You know, you guys. Let's just say your fiance. You know, she's your fiance now, and you cheated on her.
Mhm.
She never knew you cheated on her, and she's never asked. Like, is that considered like a lie? Like, if she asks you, if she's saying like, yeah, like I love you. You've been 100 with me the whole entire time. You've been a stand-up type of guy. You've been there for me. This is the reason why I want to go all the way and marry you. But you never tell her. Is that considered a lie?
I cheated. Is that a lie? I mean, I didn't tell her the truth.
Yes.
It's a half truth, right?
No, it's a lie.
Well, I didn't lie, but the thing is, I cheated. So the thing is lying synonymous with cheating?
Y'all
is
are
cheating and lying the same thing?
Well,
Tawana, I want to ask you, Anton. Hey, fall back real quick, bro. Hey,
Gotcha.
Tawana, I'm talking to you. Is cheating the same as lying? Are the two things both the same thing?
yes.
Oh, okay. So lying is cheating.
Yes, because you're being deceitful when you're cheating. That's what you're doing. You're
So
lying.
it's deceitful. It's not lying though.
You're lying to your partner because whatever the case may be, that person doesn't know that that's what you're doing in that moment.
If she never
is
asked,
that a half truth then? Because technically, I didn't lie because I didn't tell you, but I didn't tell you the whole story. So when
this like that question: if the tree fall in the forest and you don't hear it, do it make a sound? I guess so. I guess that's
all right, Tawana. I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna ask
Did
you
I
the same.
tap dance enough, Anton?
Hey, Tawana, I want to ask you a question. Okay, so let's say.
Hold on, JR. Ask that question now, bro. Because Tawana is the same person that says, so she'll say that omission is lying, but then at the same time, she'll sit there and say that a guy asking a girl how many people that she's been with. You see where I'm going with this, bro?
finish your statement because I'm confused. Like, okay.
But then you choose to omit certain details of your life that plays a role in how I feel about you.
I refuse to omit it. I didn't lie about it.
But you just said omission is lying.
Well, I told the person that I'm not going to tell you. That's not a lie. That's the truth.
It's only when men do it, but not with women at that time. That's what it is.
If a man tells me that's not my business, I would be okay.
But my point is that
I'm okay with
that because she didn't ask is not enough to justify that that's not a lie. But my point is that if you're saying that omission is a lie, you can't have it both ways. It's got to be a lie on both sides of the fence when you feel like, or when that person is discussing or having a conversation and feel like this information is pertinent, for you to omit it on either side, according to how you described it, says it's a lie, right?
I didn't omit that though. I'm not.
Well, yeah, but is that supposed to make me feel
about
better?
Why I didn't
you
want to
refuse to tell me? So what is that called? Because then now
that's what it is. You don't need to know.
That's kind of the same. Because now you're
refusing. Your business.
But isn't that a lie?
Go ahead, Sarah. I just
you ain't got to date me.
Wouldn't that still be a lie? No, Anton. Hey, Anton, hear me out.
That's how it goes.
How defines it. Wouldn't that still be a lie?
It'll still be a lie, Nick.
That is not no lie. A lie is when you purposely, when someone says,
so you gonna sit up here and tell me what you not gonna tell me, and I'm supposed to be okay with that?
Yeah, that's not a lie.
Oh hell no.
A lie would be
no, man.
A lie would be me saying, well, I 1.5.
Yeah,
one guy.
Who are you trying to convince?
I'm not convincing y'all nothing because I already told you I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're trying to make.
It sounds like Tawana is saying that if men do it, it's not okay, and if a woman does it,
no, you're the only one who try to separate genders. I've never done that.
No,
okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, Tawana. Hold on.
This is about solely what Tawana is talking
about. I'm about to give her an example.
I straight up disagree with.
I'm about to give her a situation.
I never said all women should think like me, and some women are honest with their partners about what they do and who they.
We don't even gotta make it bigger than what it is. We talking about what Tawana Lewis said.
That's right. Yeah. What I say.
Okay, Tawana. Tawana, I'm gonna give you a situation, okay?
Uh-huh.
You and your guy in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
One time, maybe about 3 years ago, you made out with somebody. It didn't go all the way. You made out with somebody. He never knew. Is that a lie?
No.
No.
How is that a lie?
I mean, it's something that's important that he should probably he should probably know, right?
What? No, if someone asks me, if he comes to me and says, "Did you make out with this guy?" Like I heard you made out with
Well,
this guy,
that's the same
and
thing that I
say
said. It's
yes,
the same thing I said with Nick's, and you said no, it wasn't right. You said that it's his duty to report that information to his fiance.
okay, but that wasn't my fiance or my man at the time. If I kissed his friend while me and him together, and I come home and lie,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like
I don't know
you
him.
guys are together. You guys are together.
You said before I got
No, okay. You guys are together,
and I kissed his friend.
and it could be anybody. It got to be a friend. It could just be like you made out with somebody or whatever. It didn't go all the way. He never knew. Is that valuable information that he should know?
Did I lie? Yeah, I lied. I'm not worth a damn. If nothing else, I'm lying about.
Now I'm confused
in this relationship.
I'm confused.
I was just trying to clean it up a little bit because
No,
you guys understood the point. That's why you guys were laughing.
First, he said before my relationship.
Did I say before that time? Did I say before? Be next. Did I say before?
And I don't even know, man. I'm just confused. Man. I'm distracted.
You said before we got in a relationship, I kissed someone, and it was his friend, and now we're together, and so now should I go back and be like,
we were just talking about the same thing, and then I said I called it, and now I'm playing on naming conventions for shit, but I called it a half truth. You called it lying. Somebody else called it cheating. Like the thing is, my point was that is lying and cheating the same thing? You said yes. So then now are we defining sex is cheating and kissing is not cheating? So now we have different levels of cheating.
Well, he said before my relationship. I mean, while I'm in a relationship, that's totally different.
Well, y'all in a relationship before y'all got engaged or something. Like, all right, another scenario, JR, since you're sitting on these.
Hold on, Nix.
I mean, I don't understand.
Nix.
I don't understand either.
It was clear.
Nix, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. You know, can someone who has lied ever change?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Of course, because B Nick lied before, so he could.
But see, now you
Hey, Nick, can you tell me why? Hey, Nick, can you tell me why?
We talking to a nun over here.
I've lied before. I have.
Hey, Nick, can you tell me why you feel that way?
In your whole life.
Hold on, guys. Hold on,
JR.
Hold on.
Your whole life, Tawana, you just have never, ever lied.
I said I have.
She said she lied. She said she lied before.
Oh, okay, well, don't try to label me.
I said I lied before.
Yeah, talk about, of course, since B Nix is a liar.
Hey, Nix, go ahead and finish. And Nix, finish your response. You said that someone that has lied can't change. Can you tell me why? Why you feel that way?
I feel like it has to be an intentional effort to be different. So the thing is, knowing that you are a liar or have lied or lying, from that point forward, is this a continuous pattern of your behavior? I think anybody can make a conscious effort to be a better version of themselves. That's fine. And I don't think there's no rule or, situation. It's up to that individual person. Yeah. Now, if they continue to lie and say I'm gonna change and they haven't changed, that's foul. And whoever's with that person, I want to say that again, you should also not enable this person to continue to lie. Yeah. Like, hey, whether you get caught or not, or whatever the situation, how it plays out, from this point on, if you got a partner or even somebody in your squad, I almost feel that we're all accountability partners as well. You can't be squad and then just allow me to lie to you. And then if you do allow me to lie to you, now it comes to a point where what type of person are you that you just allow yourself to be lied to? Whether it's unintentional or not, but it's like, come on, we're all adults, we're grown, things don't add up. So that's the thing, it goes both ways. But overall, yes, someone can change as long as they put forth the effort.
Anton, same question. Can someone that has lied ever change?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge believer in forgiveness. I'm a huge believer in change and transformation. So I think that people can come back from virtually anything, short of something as it pertains to kids, doing something to kids. I'm a huge believer in forgiveness and allowing people to come back from and become what it is that they want to become, which is one of the main reasons why me and Tawana disagree is because I think that context matters, and I think that people can come back from what it is that they're saying, and it's the reason why we ask people, why did you do this? Because we're trying to understand where they are in order to be able to more effectively be whatever it is that they need us to be in their life, be the best version of themselves. So yeah, I'm an advocate of allowing people to come back from it and making people placing them in a space where they feel comfortable enough to tell the truth.
Hey, Anton, you said that people ask why. I'm just curious. Why do they ask why, and they still like they're still gonna look at you as a liar? You know, they like
Well,
they ask you, and
some
it doesn't
people,
even it still doesn't matter. Even though even if you
Some
explain the
people,
reason, it still doesn't matter. Why is that?
I think that some people want closure. You know what I'm saying? So that they don't continue to have to live with it over and over after the situation is over. They don't have these continuous questions in their mind that they don't feel is not answered. And I think that's why some people say it. But I think that, and it's two ends of the spectrum. Other people say it because they truly want to understand who you are and why you did what you did, so that you can become a better version of yourself. And that's a part of the whole forgiveness aspect of that sphere. So I just think that it's two different ends of the spectrum. It depends on who you're talking to, how scorned they are, and how far along they are in their lives as far as allowing people to be forgiven and forgiving other people. So
Tawana, can someone that has ever lied ever change?
man, I don't do absolute. So of course, a person that lies once or lies a few times in their lives can change, but a liar cannot change. I'm sorry. I have yet to see someone who lies consistently, always telling you, cannot ever tell you the truth. You can't get a straight answer. I've never seen that person change, and that's just my opinion. They go to their grave a liar, and I've seen it my whole life. And I think yes, if you've lied, maybe the reason you lied is applicable in some cases, like Anton said. And maybe your lies are not malicious, right? You have good intentions when you do it. Then that could affect your behavior, moving forward, and it doesn't change your character. But when lying is a part of who you are, and that is what you do, you lie about the simplest things. Like I know people who lie about just like, did I wash up this morning? Yeah, I did. Like, you didn't know. Like, I don't understand why you lying about that. Just about the littlest things. And they lie their entire lives. They like rarely change and become this truthful, honest person. That's just my opinion.
So you're saying that there's a such thing as a level of lying. Like there's things that are big lies and there are things that are little lies.
Absolutely. In my opinion, I believe that some lies, well, I think not so much as level of lies, but consistency and the types of things you lie about. I think that's important. Like, you can't get my mom. My mother will not lie about anything. She hates to lie. So we went to McDonald's and they gave us free food, and she like had to go back and tell them, like, you all gave us an extra. I'm like, Mom, seriously. Most people would just take it. She just don't like to lie about simple stuff, and like that's just her character. And then there's some people who will be like, yeah, give me that free stuff and just ride off, right? Nothing's wrong with that other person. But if you will steal from your mama, steal from your grandma, steal from strangers, do all these other things. I mean, and people ask you and you lie, you're probably gonna be a liar your whole life. You're probably gonna be a thief your whole life. That's all I'm saying. So it just happens. That's just how I feel.
Hey, Nix, I want to ask you a question. Do you feel as though being someone that has lied before, do you feel as though when you're in the act of lying that it's not
he gonna forever live that down.
huh? What happened?
What happened?
Being someone that has lied before,
Yeah,
I've lied before. I've lied before as well.
Well,
I
I
know
was
how I am about labeling, but I was just gonna bring that up later. But I did
okay.
make no mention.
Well, Being someone that has lied before, do you feel as
Oh,
though
gonna reiterate it. All right.
do you feel as
Go ahead.
though like in that moment that it wasn't like you couldn't gauge how big it meant in that moment? The person that you're lying to, of course, it was big when they found the truth out. But do you feel as though in that moment that you couldn't clearly see that it was major?
I don't think I cared, like whether it's major or not. I think when you lie, is really about for that moment. I think a lot of times, like the lie, not the lying or being a liar, but a lie is really
Yeah.
like an interim solution. I don't
Right.
think you're looking that far into the future, big picture. It's just for that immediate moment. And the thing is, we're all creatures of habit. So if you have this habit of now when shit, you're in this situation, how do you respond? How do you pivot? Some people pivot when they're in a tough situation by creating a lie. And guess what? Now you strung together a series of lies, what now makes you lying about certain situations. So
Lie up.
yeah, so I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I answer your question or whatever, but
It sounds like you did.
Yeah, you did. You did. This is my last question. I'm gonna ask you, Anton. Why is it so hard for a person that has lied to be forgiven?
Why is it so hard for them to be forgiven?
Yeah.
Are
Because
you
some
talking
people,
about the person that's been lied to or the person
yeah,
that's lied?
the person that's lying. Some people never. Some people
Why
can't.
is it so hard?
Yeah, to be forgiven, meaning that the person that they lied to is saying, I just can't get over the fact that you did this.
yeah, you should ask Tawana.
Well,
That
you know the
she's the
thing
one that's like got the iron fist on how she treats liars. I
that
guess me
is
and
true.
Anton more about
Yeah.
reform.
I still got grudges, baby,
Yeah.
to this day.
Okay,
So,
Tawana. Okay, you
I
go ahead and
think.
answer it, Tawana. After Anton,
Wait,
I
but
want you to answer that question.
add this 30 let me add this 30-second answer. What people don't forgive is that once you ask somebody for forgiveness, let's say you're the person that created the offense, or you're the person that lied. You have to understand that once you ask for forgiveness, you're cool, you clear. You've done what it is that you need to do, as long as you continue to progress and no longer like create the offense. Forgiveness for people that don't forgive and hold grudges, you only hurting yourself. Like, forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. It's so that you can let go of this thing in your heart, or you can move forward, or you can allow a relationship to now blossom and grow. It's not for the other person. So when people say, "Oh man, I can't get over it," or I don't like them," or "I'm holding a grudge," or "I'll never forgive them," you have this hole in your heart. It's not against them. A lot of times they've already moved on, or they've progressed in their life because they got that monkey off their back. You got to understand that forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. So it is okay once you ask for forgiveness. If you were the person that lied, as long as you now creating a narrative that I'm no longer going to perpetuate this behavior and I'm a better person as a result of it, you don't have to continue to prove yourself to the person that you lied to. You are making amends. You are going to live your life as a better person. It's okay. But as far as them not you can't let that hold you back from continuing to be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
No, facts.
very true.
Tawana, you go ahead and answer that question. Why is it so hard for the person that has lied to be forgiven?
So for me, when you violate my trust, like when I know that I cannot trust you, is very, very difficult for me to flip back. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's because I am very forgiving and I am very like open to, but people rarely ask for forgiveness. They rarely do. But if someone comes to me and say, "Look, I did this and I lied on you. I lied and I'm sorry," I will be very open to that. But for the most part, people lie on you. They will destroy your life, destroy your relationships, destroy your family, everything, and will have no regret and will not care. And so it's very hard for me to be the bigger person in those situations. And it's happened to me so many times that it's like, I can't even understand why a person would even want to lie about stuff like simple, like stuff like that, just why they want to hurt you so bad. And so once I see your character and I know what type of person you are, I'm done. Like I can walk past you and not even say hi or not even acknowledge that you're a person. So yeah, that's how cold I can be. And I'm dead serious. Like I have been hurt enough where it's like it don't bother me. And I move on with my life and I'm good.
Okay. All right. Just tuning in. We just finished up our topic, which was lie, lying, lied, and liar. We're gonna take a 1 minute break real quick, and we're gonna finish it up with our last couple topics.
1 minute break.
Yeah.
I can't do anything in my 1 minute break. So.
No, I can't either. I'm gonna just check some emails though or something. Cause then if I leave, it's gonna be more than 1 minute.
Right, it'll be like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Then be like, man, I'll just holler at y'all later. I holler at y'all next show.
We taking intermissions. This is
right.
new. This new, man. But this new though. We ain't never like took a little intermission, right? Like we got a 1 minute intermission in between.
Yeah, shit. I mean, I wish I would have back then. Remember, I was telling you that time I was hungry as hell. I wish we would have had an intermission.
right. JR, he just like to surprise us here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalil, I do think it was only 2 comments. I can only see 2 comments as well. Janelle, she said that she could only see 2 comments.
What, Facebook?
Yeah. We're also streaming on JR's page and YouTube. So you can probably only see the Facebook comments. Yeah. She's looking at it.
Is she looking at it in the group?
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hadn't even logged on Facebook yet.
I always tune in from Facebook because it's like the first notification that comes up.
All right. All right, it's go time, y'all. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. If you're just tuning in, we're going to our third topic, which is she the prize? Is she the prize? I'm going to play this little snippet for you guys.
There's a high value man or whatever term you're using. Has any one of them married you? And the answer is no. And that's what I say. The dating market is difficult because you're not an unattractive woman. Sure, a guy will take you out for a nice date. You really want to know what we think? How tall are you?
I'm 5'6". I weigh 115 pounds.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'll take you out. Oh hell yeah, I would take you out.
So I don't have a problem finding men taking
Of course
me out.
not. I would. But the thing is, what are you finding them for though? Yeah, I would take you out. Get you a nice steak and some lobster. We'd have a good old time, and I would blow your back out. But I wouldn't marry you. Listen, you want men not to be men. You want men to think like women. That's not what we value, ma'am. We want a beautiful woman on our arm.
Yeah, that's the problem. What about the men that have children of their own? They want a stepmother.
Well, again, you still act as though
most men at this age.
Okay, listen. I'll answer it. See, you're still speaking as if you have leverage in this thing. And I'm trying to level set you. Even if I have children, I got more options than you. I can go find a woman with no kids because I can afford both of you. If I can afford to take care of you and your kids, I can afford to take care of her and no kids.
Yeah.
Why would I pick you and your kids? That's why you need to stay single until your kids are gone. That's the choice you made when you reproduced, ma'am.
Is she the prize? That's the topic right now. So you have this woman. She has 2 kids, I believe, and she's having problem dating. And so his name is Kevin Samuels. Shout out to him in this podcast. Well, I don't know if it's a podcast. Yeah, it is a podcast. It's pretty dope. But he feels as though she's not the prize, and she has everything twisted. So after seeing that, Tawana, how did you feel about it? I know you watched the whole entire segment. How did it make you feel? What are your thoughts about it?
This man, I mean, okay. His argument was so one-sided. I wish there was rules to it, so concrete, just so definite the way this man portrayed them to be. And I honestly don't think he understands that because you're a single mother does not mean that you don't have support. It doesn't mean that you don't have the means to date people without all of the challenges that comes with being a single parent. And that is the truth. Some single parents don't have the luxury of having support from family, from their other parent, and then they don't have the luxury of being able to date fluidly and whenever they want. But some people do. And so if there is no challenge there, most men won't see it as a challenge. And most men won't see you as a burden. So therefore, like a lot of the things that he was saying, I just totally disagree with. He told that woman, she was 30 years old, that she would never find love. Like she needed to wait. And so her kids were old enough where she could seriously date. And he really didn't address any of the things that I feel like were important. And I'm sorry, I have to stop right there. But yes, that was my initial impression, was that it was one-sided, that there's so many other things that go along with that. And people can't say that because I'm a living proof. And I have definitely different people in my family who've been through similar situations, different people in my circle who've been through similar situations. And there are men who are open to dating women. And so I just don't agree with a lot of things he said.
Anton, I first want you to tell me your thoughts about the segment. I know you watched the whole thing too, and I also want you to give me your thoughts about how Tawana responded to it.
What women don't understand is that there is no second side to the conversation. Like people always say stuff like it's one-sided or whatever like that. You got to understand that she was calling in for his advice because she was having trouble finding a man willing to marry her. This is not a conversation about whether or not you can find dates. It's not a conversation of whether or not you can find sex. It's not a conversation of whether or not a guy will entertain you in a relationship or even be in a long-term situation. This is a conversation about marrying, right? And when it comes to men marrying, and specifically high value men, this is not just finding a man. This is not just finding any man. This is finding men of a certain stature that she was looking for. And I think that a lot of women have a conversation about, they give their opinion without even watching the video. I looked at a lot of the comments that was in the group and they were like, no, I ain't watching that or whatever, because whatever. But you have to understand the entirety of the conversation in order to be able to accurately assess it. When you're looking for certain type of men that are willing to marry you, you have to be at a certain criteria because they are not accepting certain things such as being a step parent of smaller children, specifically smaller children. They're not for it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that he was absolutely spot on. People don't like his delivery, but everything he said was absolutely accurate. And if it wasn't, then you wouldn't have so many women having conversations and calling into his show saying that I'm beautiful, I'm the prize, I make all this money, I'm in this state, but I can't find a man of this stature that's willing to participate and marry me and be a stepfather in this certain situation. He's absolutely right, and it's the reason why she was calling him in the first place. So it really don't matter how people feel, how one-sided the situation is, because he didn't call them for their advice. They called into his show because they were having trouble. So of course it's going to be one-sided because what they were doing is not working. Clearly, it's not working. Ain't no high-value men. I don't know any that's marrying women with small children. It's not happening, fam.
So, Anton, would you say that men have more options?
Yeah, absolutely. They have more options. And again, it goes with the power dynamics of what men look for versus what women are looking for, right? When you're talking about high value men, especially when you get past the age of 30, the dynamics change because when you look at the sliding scale, and I always give this conversation, I gave this conversation to the last party I was at, and every woman agreed, what men look for in women is what she looks like. What women generally look for in men is whether or not he can provide and what does he do. So when you talk about that, the highlight of women's life generally exists between their late 20s and very early 30s, sometimes not even that. And then women generally go on a downward slope when it comes to what men value in women, whereas men continue to go up because their earning potential don't even hit its peak until their late 50s, sometimes early 60s. So when you take that into consideration of what high value men are and what women are looking for versus what men are looking for, women truly don't get it. They don't understand that we don't care what you do for a living. We don't care how much money you make. We don't care whether or not you have a good relationship with the kid's father. We're looking at the dynamics as it relates to what we do and how you place into our lives. And that's why there's always going to be an overabundance of men. An overabundance of women, ratio of women to men as it relates to high value and high value women. That's just the truth. We are always going to have the power dynamics in our favor when it comes to that.
All right, B. Next, you had a chance to listen to Tawana and Anton and also to catch a snippet of that video. I would love to hear your thoughts about everything.
Yeah, I got a few opinions. I hate shows like that. Like, of course, I'm gonna say like I really don't care. But
come on, Nix. I do you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like for one, like why call in? Like why even call to ask advice for someone that don't even know you? Strike one, right? Strike one. Why call in asking for help and assistance for someone that doesn't know your story, and you're supposed to get this snapshot based on you giving like this very brief 30-second, not even really high level introduction of what you have to offer, and then you're allowing yourself to be on the stage for him to just break you down, right?
True.
For one, it's like, why? That's my thing. Far as his response, that's his opinion. I'm not going to say it's wrong. I think it speaks to his opinion and people that are like-minded like him.
Do you agree? Anything he said? Does he have a point?
I don't care about his point, in all honesty. It doesn't represent.
Do you agree?
No, I don't, because it doesn't align with how I think.
Does he have a point? Did he have a point with anything he said?
I don't care about what he said. That's the part that I just said. It doesn't align with the way I think. So I'm not going to agree with somebody that doesn't think the same way I think.
Right.
That's his opinion. And that's all I got to say.
How do you
think? Not a yes or no. That's his opinion. Do I agree with it? If you're going to press me about it? No, I don't, because I don't think like him.
Okay, how you think?
I don't care. The thing is, to each his own, right? Each person has their own situation, right? So the thing is, okay, she's 30, she got a seed, she's never going to get married.
She got two kids. She got two kids.
Huh?
She has 2 kids.
Okay, 2 kids.
2 kids, and she's dating, and
Yeah.
she's looking for a
Is
particular
somebody
type
going to
of
marry
man.
her? Possibly. Can he or I predict the future? No. So the thing is, hey, it may not happen right now. She's 30 years old, right? The part that I actually prefer is the breakdown that Anton mentioned about what are we looking for, right? So the thing is that she is age 30, has 2 kids, dating. She's trying to find a husband, right? I get looking at the long-term outcome right now. Anton mentioned something that makes sense, that men don't look at things that same way at the age of 30. So it's like, even if you find somebody that is your peer group, right? We're not looking for the same things. So we're kind of maybe not even the same circles. If she's looking for someone to be the provider, to take care, to be like this what you call it, Anton, high level man or whatever like that, shit, good luck finding this 30-year-old that's going to be able to have all these different things. I disagree with her point also, because it's like you're going in leading with these monetary things, you know, these materials and items and these worldly things that you feel that you need in order to be affirmed as to who you are as a woman. That's a messed up way of thinking. Nice. But there are people out there that think like that, because somebody may disagree with me and say like, no, that's exactly what you need to think about. I'm not. So guess what? I'm not looking for a woman that's thinking like that. So maybe I'm not attractive, or I'm not the high value person I'm looking at. Anton mentioned a point. We talked about like credit scores, shit like, hell, my credit score was like, man, what, 550, 600 last year. So the thing is like, hey, that means that technically I'm not a high value man based on whatever somebody like her is looking for. Can I provide other things? Yes, I can. So the thing is, if you're going to cut me off, and this is the part where I think men get frustrated about the dating thing too, because now it's like you have this astronomical like expectation of where I'm supposed to be at, and I'm 25 years old, 30 years old, just like with the whole Birkin bag debate. I can't afford it. So guess what? I'm not the person that you're looking for. We're not in the same group. But the thing is, if you are looking for that type of person, Anton made a good point. You are looking to someone that's upward in their 45, 50, that's established, may have been divorced, married, reinvented themselves. And that's why you find men that tend to date younger women. Historically, we've seen this. Because guess what? Anton, I would rather listen to Anton than Buddy. So the thing is, it's one of those that, hey, we see historically, men do date younger women because we are into visuals. And the thing is, none of us look the same at age 45 and 55. But if we're visual creatures, then guess what? When the man finally is now ready to say, now I'm ready to look for a wife. Mm-hmm. Most men are not going to say, I'm ready to look for a wife at age 20, 30, maybe even 40. I mean, let's be honest. I always try to use my own examples. My father didn't get married until he was like 55 or something like that. My younger brother got married before he did. How your son get married before you? So the thing is, I'm not saying that my father's an outlier. He's one of a nice sum of people that fits into that category until, guess what? He had to figure it out. He had to figure out how to build his credit, how to be a man, how to take care of, how to provide. He knew how to take care of himself. But as far as how to provide for family and a wife, that's something different. So my issue is that why call in for some man that you don't know that's supposed to give you this advice? And we've seen it not just with him, the Steve Harveys and everybody else, these men that are these relationship experts that's supposed to tell a woman how they're supposed to be. If anything, if I'm a man, I may not go to a woman to say what I would actually go to a man that's my senior to say like, hey, bruh, walk me through the game. I'm not going to necessarily, and that's my take, I'm not going to go to somebody the opposite sex. I will actually feel more aligned with somebody of the same sex that I feel I could connect to. Because now it's, what's the shit? Venus and Mars, right? We're talking about people that look at the world differently. Historically, just the way our schema on how we look and approach things. Now,
I don't listen to men for that reason. I don't listen to men for that reason. I agree exactly with what you're saying.
Yeah, it just,
when it comes to how to be a woman or giving me advice on what a woman needs to do, because I just don't think that a man can tell me that. I just don't.
Anton, you bring up these examples, like, and maybe you may have a different answer to this, but you mentioned about having girls, right? And I got 2 girls. The thing is, as far as dating, I'm gonna talk about it from the perspective of a man. I'm not going to say, well, as a woman, you need to do this. As a woman, you need to. I'm not going to, even when I get to that point, I don't even want to frame it from that lens. I want to tell her, as far as a man, about expectations from a man that you should have. I'm not going to sit up there and tell her, well, you need to do this if you want to get a good man. And no, that's where we get the game wrong. And then we see mothers do that with their sons. They're like, oh, well, you need to do this. Like, no, I don't. Because the thing is, if I was listening to you, I would not be married, because I'm listening to you, because you don't know. Because you're looking at it from a different perspective as an older woman. I need to talk to somebody that's in my gender group, not even peer group, but in my gender group. So again, I think that in the society, we get too caught up in these sensationalized stories. Because honestly, what were we expecting him to really say to her? And second thing, last thing, then I'm done with this. But the only thing is also, we live in a society where there's many, and I think you used the term wetlock a few months back, Anton, but there's many people that have children out of wedlock that may, have these blended families. That is not new. I think it's more common, more socially acceptable. So if we're basing this off her being 30 and having 2 kids, I don't want to cut that lady off at the knees and say, you know what, man, you ain't never going to get married because you decide to have these 2 kids. Hey, we all about reform and upbuilding and evolving as a person, right? That person that she was may not be the person she will be. So it's just a matter of whether that person, are we willing to take risk on each other? And that's the part that's sad on both accounts for men and women, that we have these sensationalized expectations of who we want to date. And then we get our feelings hurt when we don't find it.
Mm-hmm. I do agree with a lot of what you said, B-Nix. The one caveat I want to add in about Kevin Samuels, though, is that he doesn't deal with just everybody, globe sphere in his conversations. He's dealing specifically with coaching men that are very, very high value. He calls them Henrys, right? High earners, not rich yet. So he deals with Henrys, and he deals with, which is a term that he's got from Forbes, and he deals with men that are already in that sphere. And he preaches that, these guys need to get around other people that are in this same sphere as them, because you're more powerful together than you are apart. So when we talk about Kevin Samuels, or the conversations that we have with him having women in these conversations, these women are calling in, understanding that these are the type of men that they're seeking. So I just wanted to add that as context, because I think that you were right in that you were saying, it's not saying that she can't find a man or she can't get married, but she's saying this is the level in which I'm seeking, and this is the only person that I'm interested in. And that was the context of the conversation. When you add that caveat and that understanding in there, then you getting permission to cut her off at the knees, because now you're saying, okay, so this is what you want. Let me have a conversation about what the expectations are from these type of men that I coach regularly. And so that's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay. No, thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
I mean, I think that he was just missing key points, because, like, to be honest, when I listened to her, she supposedly is in a 2-year relationship, right? Currently, where her and the guy had went ring shopping. So like she didn't even like this guy. She didn't like him, right? So Kevin's like, but you're in a relationship with men who you don't like, because you just have to take what you can get, right? Because you're just like, you don't have those options. And he was talking her through, but he was blaming the fact that she was a mother. And he was saying that that's the reason why she's not going to meet anyone, versus telling her what was going on in her character. And the issues that I saw with her was that she didn't seem confident. She didn't seem sure of herself. She had no idea what she wanted. She was like really young and immature. She was 30 years old, but she acted like she was 17. Like, I couldn't even really get a woman out of that, right? Because as a single woman, as a single mother, I have qualities that are very attractive to me. Okay. I'm very nurturing. I'm very loving. I'm flexible. I have all these qualities that are attractive to men. So you can't tell me, but you can't tell me that I will never meet a man of high value, because that's not true. Because I have. And let me tell you how I've had men who've paid for nannies for me to take me out. Like
let me ask you a question.
Wait, I'm telling you that I have had high value men who are attracted to me. I am currently with a high value man who's very attracted to me, who loves me, and who I believe is a forever relationship. So please, let's like not put women in these categories like, oh, because you're a single mother with 2 kids, you're never going to meet a man who is got a good credit score, who got a good job, who knows how to save his money, that knows that takes care of his responsibility, where you ain't got to take care of nothing. That's not true. I'm just telling you that right now.
So let me ask you a question though, because, and I'm gonna add the context before I ask you the question. So, and this isn't necessarily just pertaining to you, but since you're the woman on the panel, I have to pose it to you, right, in order to have this conversation fully, right?
Go ahead, yeah.
So, I think that the problem with women is that they have these criteria of what they think makes them awesome, but it's what they think. It has nothing to do with what the opposite sex thinks and that perspective. Because like you just described yourself, and I have no doubt in my mind that all of it is absolutely true. But how do you know, especially as it relates to all of these other women that are looking for high value men, how do you know what the criteria is? How do you know that what you just described is what we as high value men are interested in from you as a woman? How do you know that that's the criteria?
I can only speak from my experience, and I can only speak from knowing my father, who was a provider, and my dad took care of every, his wives, and that's what he did, and that's what he taught me. I have uncles. My aunt was married to a man for 5 years. She had 3 children with this man. Divorced him and met my uncle, who they've been married for 47 years. Okay. My uncle owned property all over he was a very successful man. And he was the man of our entire, the patriarch of our family. What I'm saying to you is that I've seen with my own eyes that this is not just everyone's story. And this is just not how all men think. And that there is other qualities that men value that single women have, that single mothers have. And actually, it's a lot of single women in this world with no children who struggle to find men, who struggle with relationships.
I want to ask you a question when you finish. Hold on, Anson. I want to ask you a question. Anson, let me ask you a question real quick. Tawana, what is your definition of a high value man?
What my definition of a high value man is exactly what I just said. A man who is very successful in his career, who probably has his own credit established, who's probably very solid and stable in his life, maybe own his own house, maybe have a side business, maybe is able to afford a little bit more than an average man, right? Who's making between 60 and 70K. This man is on a higher level. Maybe he has multiple homes or multiple cars, or he is very well traveled. He is intelligent. He's accomplished. All of those things to me are high value men. And those are the type of men that I'm pretty sure she was referring to.
Okay. Anson, hold on. I'm coming to you next. B. Nix, if you had to define high value man, can you tell me what that would be?
I guess somebody that is responsible, is able to provide for themselves and possibly others, a stand-up person, someone that I would say that is successful both professionally and personally, because a lot of cases people are not evenly yoked. They may be very successful professionally and not personally, and sometimes vice versa. So I think being very versatile and really just being a stand-up guy that they're able to provide for themselves and for others, and to be both personally and professionally successful.
All right. Hey, Anton, I want you to tell me your opinion about what a high value man is, and also I know you follow Kevin Samuel's page. I want to know how he defines what a high value man is.
So again, a high value man, as defined by Kevin Samuels, is specifically high earner, not rich yet. But we also have to put this into context, because and again, this is what I'm saying about women having a misunderstanding of what a high value man is as far as what these women are seeking, right? We're talking about men who are already millionaires. We're talking about men who are in the top, the very beginning of it is the top 5% of men. So take 95% of all men and throw them out the window as it relates to this specific criteria of men. So now you're talking about the top 5% and then going up from there into the top 2%. So when you're talking about the top 2% of men, we're not talking about just six-figure earners. We're talking about men that make over $400,000, over $500,000 a year, men that have a net worth well over $1 million. And we're talking about not just gross, we're talking about minus expenses, all assets. We're talking about men that can go 2 to 3 years without never ever working a regular job, okay, and still be able to live a specific type of lifestyle and take care of and provide for a woman in a space to where she never ever have to work again, and he can still maintain this level of lifestyle. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about men that are above average or slightly above average. We're talking about men in the upper echelon, the top 1% of men, right? When he walks in, he has every single thing already together. Nobody has made him. He often spends his time working 16 to 20 hours a day to acquire this lifestyle. He's built himself up. He's self-made. This is not something that he's inherited. He's worked his entire life to build this lifestyle up and to live this specific type of way. Now, when you take that into consideration, you're talking about a man that's willing to share everything that he's worked his entire life for to become in this upper echelon of men with a man or with a woman that has kids by another man. Take into consideration also that the highest honor that a woman can give a man in a man's eyes is to bear his children. Now, this man that has been at the top of everything that he's ever done in his entire life has to take care of another man's children, right? We're talking about highest value men, men that think a certain type of way. So when you ask women to describe this type of guy, often at times they have no clue what they're talking about because they don't fully understand what a high value man truly is as it relates to the type of men that this guy coaches on a regular basis. They don't have the context to understand what they're talking about. So when they refer to these women that's calling in asking for advice on how to get these type of men, they don't have a clue because they don't meet the criteria for a man that is of this caliber. That is the absolute truth.
Well, we might as well not talk about them because they like less than 1% of the population. So next, she should have called a show where she could get advice on actually getting a real man. What the hell you gonna get 1% of the population? Good luck, lady.
Yeah, I know. She could have. Hey, she could have tuned in to Lapeef. Let's talk.
Listen. But I mean, I would have gave her some better advice than that. That sounds like some damn crazy mess. But you trying to get advice on how to find a man that is less than a certain percentage of the population. You more than likely gonna find a man that's making an average salary.
But you know what though? Like the only thing I want to say about that, like this perpetuates this environment in which this self-deception that we talked about. I feel like this then prompts people to feel that they have to create this facade of this type of lifestyle in order to attract a woman that's in the same peer group or in the same kind of group that they can associate with, but they have different expectations. And I think that, folks need to also check themselves too. I think that I'm not against reaching for the stars. I get it. And what Anton, you would say, dating up and that whole logic, hey, to each his own, if that's what you want to do. But folks got to be realistic because I ain't going to lie. After Anton, the way that you broke it down is kind of like, yeah, man, go and sit down somewhere. It's like, even if he, like, this high value man is like that, but it's kind of one of those, like, guess what? Birds of a feather.
That's like that. That's like that.
High value woman.
That's like that
think
stupid
about it.
alpha beta thing that y'all say. It's just
No, it's like you see,
it's just
it's not just like that, but like you see like birds of a feather. You see celebrities date other celebrities. You see athletes date. It's the circle. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody that's able to match you. That's how I'm looking at it. Not a hierarchy, but willing to match you. And the thing is, it's like,
or he can be better.
What she's bringing to the table. It's like, hell, what's her fucking occupation? It's like, hey, like, what, like you want somebody to match you, and the thing is, it's kind of like, hey, what we said, Anton, hey, you got to stay in your weight class. Obviously, she's trying to be in the different weight class that she's not prepped for.
What's so funny about it?
That's not what she said, though. I mean, I listened to the whole entire interview. She never said that she needed somebody that was ripped or she wanted somebody that was going to take care of her. You know, I think she just wanted a man.
She's calling Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels specifically coaches and advocates for these type of men. When she calling into this show, at the very least, this is exactly what she's asking for. You can't take it out of context and say, well, no, fam, you calling into Kevin Samuels. These are the type of men he advocates for. That's the weight class that we're talking about.
We get into trouble.
She can call to see her.
Put people in a box. Like, that's the problem with us. We always try to put people in this box and say, you have to do this, and that's how it's going to go. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not how it goes. And
I think she fully I think she fully understood when she was calling that show the type of man that she's trying to attract. Like, I think she knew what Kevin Samuels' show was pretty much about. It's about the high value man, and how she views the high value man probably aligned with Kevin Samuels and the people that he coached. So she was trying to seek. So she was trying to seek information about how do I get that man. That's the type of man that I want.
You're assuming that that's what she was saying.
I mean,
because that's not
all the given information. I mean, that's.
It don't even sound like she dating that type of.
No.
Okay.
She's not dating, but she's seeking it. She's seeking it.
I guess, y'all. I don't know. I think that's stupid.
Go ahead, next.
No, to me, it's like, I mean, even though I know that we're talking about this, like, is she the prize? But honestly, she would not be my prize, because like you calling it, it's like I don't want no woman that gotta call in to get validation. You should already know your worth. Like, why are we entertaining this woman? And obviously, she got some shit she got to work on herself. She needs some coaching.
I mean, that's a lot of women. There's a woman out there like that. There's a lot of women out there like that.
That was the problem. Like I said, it was her character. It was her confidence. That's why she don't have a man.
Yeah. That's why I can't get past that. I'm sorry. I got to
put
that back on the table. Like Tawana saying, I cannot sit up here and spend more mental energy on someone that really is not of high value, or however we want to define it. Man,
I just think it was just single mothers that had issues finding men. It is these beautiful women out here who have issues finding men. It is so many women in general that have issues finding men. So for you all to sit there and act like, oh, she's a single mother and her challenge is, come on now. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I'm gonna break it down and make it more plain, to make it very easy for all of our women watchers.
I mean, I heard you, but you can break it down for them, I guess.
Break it down visually.
I think I heard you.
When we seen J-Lo dating her dancer, it's a different dynamic. We knew that wasn't gonna last because he was just a thing. You know what I'm saying? Versus, and he caught all kind of flack, and it's almost like, man, he better keep himself together. It's a different dynamic now that he's dating Alex Rodriguez. Like, yo, Alex Rodriguez is a whole nother caliber of dude than J-Lo's dancer. You see what I'm saying? And so it's different levels. It's different weight classes.
And she got 2 kids.
But you're missing what I'm saying.
No, the point was that it doesn't matter what her finances are. It doesn't matter about any of that stuff, right? So if that was the case, then why is it that this woman with 2 children was able to find her a high value man? Regardless.
Because she's not J-Lo. And J-Lo is an international celebrity. And my point becomes similar to what B-Nick said. So people, and it's the same thing that even the Bible talk about. It talk about being equally yoked. You got to stay in your weight class. People are shooting up and getting mad because they getting shot back down. And you can't get mad because she's the one that's having trouble dating or finding men that's interested in marrying her and taking on her 2 kids, although they've worked their entire life. They got to share all their resources that they worked their entire life for. But now he's supposed to share that with her and be a father of her kids. If you listen to the whole what she was saying, the whole thing was she was talking about the man to be a father and to discipline her kids and all of that. Come on, man. What are we talking about here? Are y'all really advocating for and saying that this woman is really in the weight class of these type of guys that she's seeking? Why are we not realistic? Listen, I'm realistic about myself, yo.
You're probably
I feel like I'm a great dude. However, I'm not quite on the level to go and chase down Oprah. I'm not, man. We not in the same weight class. I realize this. I'm realistic. I'm objective enough to know I'm not Oprah's level. It's just the truth, yo.
I guess right. We just don't agree to disagree because y'all saying I don't really. I guess
I have nothing. I can't give Oprah anything. I can't give her life. I can't give her love. I can't give her anything, yo. We are not in the same weight class.
How can y'all ignore clear examples where it happens differently and act like that's not a factor? I don't get it. It's like you see that.
Wait, say that again, Tawana.
High value men marry single mothers all the time, but
I disagree.
I don't think nobody said that doesn't happen.
No, Antoine,
I don't think
he said it don't happen.
You can find a simp.
It don't happen all the time, but yet we're ignoring that fact because we want to perpetuate the idea.
We find simps. We find simps disguised as high value men, and they got their costumes on, and they out here pretending like they of that.
Right, that's because y'all label people.
They not that, man. They not that.
Hey, I mean, but you know what? This also speaks to why people don't even get married no more either. Like big picture. It's like that's where we at in a society. These are reasons why people just be like, hey, I got mine, you got yours. Let's just cohabitate, but like we ain't even got to do this marriage thing. Because it's stuff like this is reason why people don't get married. It's too messy, it's too political, it's too sensationalized, it's not even authentic. So
or you just like you may be just trying to be cautious because of stuff like
Nick,
that.
Someone asked you a question.
Somebody got time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Nick,
what's up?
When dating, most women move out of fear. Do you agree? When dating, most women move out of fear.
What do you mean move out? Move
out of fear, like their actions, like
they
move out of fear.
Like
yes.
How they navigate to date people based on fear of being alone.
I mean, just fear, like whatever their fear may be. I'm asking you, do you agree that most women, when dating, most women move out of fear?
All right. Can I give an example and then I'm gonna give an answer?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's an aspect of fear, with just based on a few friends I have of mine, that something about the age of 30 is like very significant to some women, not all, but having these kind of lofty expectations, either that they have for themselves or that family and friends or society has placed upon them, that by the age of 30, the expectation is that, oh, I should be married, I should have a family, I should have my career. Or if I have my career, then I have to sacrifice not having a family, or vice versa, right? The thing is almost like, because I feel like because of that biological clock, even though we see women having children at a later age in life, but of course that's high risk. That would be an example where I see some, not all women, kind of move out of fear. But you know what? That's actually the woman that I wouldn't want to date. I don't want anyone that's making decisions in their life based on fear. They should be confident in what they want and what they bring to the table and what they're looking for. And that's part of going back to Shawty that we talking about. Hey, this is a woman that also is operating in the deficit. She is operating out of fear of something that she needs to unpack. That's not my job or buddy's job to be able to define that for her. She needs to figure it out on herself. So there are people that move out of fear. I think that I see it as being more prevalent with women. So I guess, yes, some women move out of fear, not all. Just to answer your question. Some, but not all. I think it's situational.
Anton, when dating, do most women move out of fear?
I don't think that that's the initial outset of it. I think that it becomes that. Because, like, for example, when you hear a woman that say, I don't want to be alone, for example, and I hear that a lot from women, like, they don't necessarily frame it that way. They'll say, I want a husband or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, what it comes down to is that they don't want to be lonely. And I think that the parameters are different for men and women, but I don't think that this is defined exclusively for women. I think that men move out of fear also. But as it relates to women specifically, I don't think that it starts off that way. They start off optimistic because, again, we're talking about women, and as you as they evolve, and again, we're talking about women and men interest in women as far as what they look like, right? We're talking about women that in their early 20s and in the beginning of their womanhood, they're at the top of their game. So they feel as though they can move differently. However, as women get older, for example, when you hear a woman that say, I ain't getting any younger, or they relate that to having kids, I need to have kids by a specific age, then their actions become defined according to how they're moving specifically to address that thing that they're having problems with or they're fearful of not being able to address by a certain time frame or a certain age, or so on and so forth. So I think that, again, it's not exclusively defined or set based off of gender, because I do know men that do a lot of things or make decisions out of fear. However, specifically as it relates to your question, and women, I do think that the overwhelming majority of women, especially as they get older, make decisions out of fear. I'm older. Here's another scenario. I can't get divorced now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they'll stay in a situation longer than they may normally would, or, understanding that they don't feel as though they can do better than the circumstance that they're in. So they stay and try to make it work, even though the circumstance isn't ideal for them, out of fear of what could happen or what the alternative would be related to that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that women overwhelmingly move more definitively out of fear than men do.
Tawana, do most women move out of fear when dating?
I've been thinking about this because I feel like that a lot of women do. And the reason why I feel that they do is because I see women who are afraid to start over. That's what a lot of my friends or feedback that I get. It's like, okay, I tolerate these things because I don't want to start over, and I don't want to start over because ultimately I don't want to be alone. And then it's like, now I have to get back out here and try to find somebody else and connect with somebody else. And I think a lot of people, the older you get, like, you realize how difficult that can be. And so, it's that fear of going out there and not even finding whatever connection you have with that person again. So I think that people move out of fear, and that's the reason why. I think like, for me, it's like, okay, I was married before. And so I feel like my perspective is, you only live once. So, like, you go out here and just, like, you already did the marriage thing. So, you don't need to go out there and like, pursue somebody because you ultimately want to do this thing again, right? But that is what some women want. They want that life. They want to get married. That's their end goal. And so they go out there and they're dating with that fear that, okay, I'm not going to find him, or he doesn't like me. He's not going to find me attractive. Like, it's a lot of fears that go into that situation. And I do ultimately think that is detrimental. And like Nick said, it's not attractive because most men don't want to date a woman who they can sense is dating them out of this obligation or fear of, you know, being lonely or, you know, not finding companionship. And it's like men can automatically sense that desperation sometimes. So that fear turns into other things. So it ultimately cripples them and makes them stay in bad situations and actually limits their pool because they live that way. But yeah, a lot of women do.
No, that's a good point, Tawana. I was actually gonna mention that. I know we're not here to talk about that, but it's one of those like, you know, what's real unfortunate with this? Like, if there are people that's moving out of fear, there's a man right now, and Anton, I'm not gonna call this man no simp, but the thing is, there may be a man right now that's married to somebody that really they're with them, have children with them, have shared bank accounts and stuff like that with them, because they was moving out of fear, that they with someone based on security and not really based on really wanting to be with them. That's the sad part. That's why
it's guys that's sticking around because they don't want to give half of their stuff. That's the fear. The fear isn't the good amount of security. The fear is, oh man, what's the circumstance that I got to deal with and the headache?
Hey, but you know what? You got to admit, that's foul though, man. That really is, man.
What's foul about it?
And the thing is, I feel like there's good brothers out there, and like Tawana mentioned, that I feel that have been wronged by women operating out of fear. Not all women, but those women that are moving by leading with fear and having their motives. That's messed up, man.
I bet you most of those women are single.
It's sad.
I'm telling you, most of those women who operate that way, who have this fear, who are holding on to someone, are probably single. They are. Or
what's wrong, Anton?
Single, not meaning that they're not married, maybe that they're in a relationship, but they're single. They're in a relationship with someone. They've been with someone for some time. They're holding on to somebody that possibly is not ever going to take them to the next level. The very thing that they fear is probably never going to happen for them. But they hold on to that relationship out of fear that they won't even find a connection with someone else, and they won't even, you know, and the same thing might happen, but it's going to take them longer, right? Because a lot of women, we look at our age and, you know, look at where you're at in your life, and you're kind of figure like, well, I'm at this age where if I start over now, I may never have children, right? Or if I start over now, I may never do this. So like, it's those fears, those things that you think about in the back of your mind, like, what happens if I start over at this moment, you know? And so I guess if you're a woman at a certain age and so some of those things haven't happened for you, then, you know, you will maybe operate out of fear a little bit more than others.
Like, I almost feel like some women that are married or in relationships that have kids, they move out of fear, especially when the kids are younger, because as you said, like that whole starting over, you know, once you have kids that's young and you get a divorce or you separate, it's going to be harder to start over because, like, essentially the kids are with the woman. So for you to be able to take that baggage, so to speak, and start over, a lot of women are fearful, so they just kind of stick it out.
That's not the reason I stuck it out, but I guess I'm
not saying all women, but I do believe some women.
I absolutely didn't think like, oh, I can't find someone else. What I was thinking was like, this is my kid's father, you know, like I need to make this work. This is not, you know, like I can't just pick up and leave, you know what I mean? So I was thinking everything but that I ain't gonna be able to find somebody else in this world.
Right.
You know, but I understand, but I was young too then. So, you know, I was still in my 20s, you know, so I mean, obviously when you get older, the older you get, the more settled you get in your relationship. You probably are thinking like, man, I'm not gonna be able to find anybody else, you know. I can see that. And maybe that's, I don't think that's why all women stay married, obviously. Because I think a lot of women are actually happy in their marriage. I know women who are happy in their marriage and been married 17 years, 20 years. I know somebody been married 40 years. Like, so I just feel like there are a lot of people who are happy in their marriage and they have very valid reasons why they stay together. I think that it is some people who stay out of fear. Yeah, absolutely. Is there something wrong with that? I don't know.
I also want to give another example. I know someone that, well, I won't say I know someone, even though I do, but I think a lot of people are in a situation where as though, um, they've been dating for like years, they have kids, and now once they get to that certain age, it's like I have zero tolerance for anything. It's either you're going to give me what I want right now, or you're not the one, which I think is a bad thing because I think any other day, when given an opportunity, somebody has time to be able to express themselves and to be able to reveal who they truly are. But when you reach that certain age, now the other person on the receiving end doesn't get that opportunity because it's like, look, either you're the one, you're gonna give me what I want right now, or I'm gonna move on. And I think it's kind of unfair to that person. So I think that woman that's out there that's moving out of fear like that, you can't move like that. You have to be able to give someone the equal opportunity. And just because you reach that age and you have a lot of bullshit relationships doesn't mean that the other person that you're dating has to get that restriction, has to suffer. I do understand standards, and you may have a standard, but you have to be understanding that that person may not be able to give you or reveal who they truly are within that set time frame. So I just want that person to be a little bit more open.
Terrible advice. If a woman don't
Terrible
listen to
advice.
that, terrible. I would never tell a woman that ever in my life. No, no. Be open to what? No, you gotta be
No,
dressed.
well, you gotta understand that they time. So, for instance, if you,
I'm looking like that.
yeah, for instance, I give you an example to kind of help you understand my train of thought when I said this. If you meet somebody, right? Uh, Normally after about you know about a month or so, you can kind of get a feel for who that person is. Not fully, but you have a good understanding of where it could possibly go. When you, let's say you're about like 42, 43, and now that time is cut down to like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. If you're not meeting that expectation, because they don't have time anymore. Right now they feel like, I know what I want. This is what I want. If you can't give it to me, then you're not the one. I To me, I think it's unfair. I think that because you're in a rush and they may not be in a rush, it, it's not right. Like, am I wrong for thinking that?
You're wrong for the reason why that person might decide to cut that man off. And it's not always because she's in a rush. It could be because I'm at a certain place in my life where I can see straight through the BS. And I don't have to waste my time on somebody when I already see they ain't on nothing. Like maybe when you're younger, it's easier to be manipulated and easier to be, you might see a sign and be like, okay, I'm ignore that for a little bit. Maybe he's gonna be a different man and I think he's great. But when you're 42 and you consistently see something, you gonna kind of be like, no, this is just who he is, and I'm gonna keep it moving. And it has absolutely nothing to do with you rushing to get to the altar. It's more so you knowing who you are as a woman, and men and their behaviors, and you trust in your instinct and your gut. So no, I don't agree with that. Now I do agree with you, which is saying that maybe be a little bit more flexible and be a little bit more patient, and not be so judgmental for men. Like allow a man to make mistakes and don't judge him by his first mistake, right? Or even men don't judge women by their first mistakes. I think they give us so many opportunities too to just be like, show them, a different side, right? Yes, I agree with that perspective, absolutely. But I don't agree that that's the reason why a woman would leave a man at that age. I think it's very different when you get older.
Okay. Next, how you feel about it?
I don't know. I almost feel like when you older, we all know what we want, which I feel is very empowering when you know what you want. But if it's not meant to be, I mean, marriage may actually not be the option based on where you're at on that certain stage of your life. I think that we automatically think that it's just something that we're supposed to get married, like it has to happen. It doesn't. And I think that when you know who you are, you know what you want, you're okay if it doesn't happen either. I think at that stage of the game, if I'm and I'm gonna use myself, but let's say, yeah, I know you were talking about from a woman's standpoint, but if I'm like 55 or something like that, then it's kind of like I've lived my life. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. I'm looking for companionship. Really, I want to say it's that stage of my life. And as long as you could be my companion, my travel buddy, we could make money together, then getting married really is
not the goal.
Yeah, it's not really high on the
No.
priority list. It's like you just want somebody that you could spend your years with, and you could just everything is chill. A lot of times, like marriage may mess that up. It may be a disruption on what you got. So, I mean, like same way we talk about like, college isn't for everybody, school is not for everybody, corporate isn't for everybody, marriage is not for everyone. My only thing, as long as you know what you want and who you are, stand on that. I think that when you love someone, that's when you're willing to compromise, but you only feel trusting enough to compromise when somebody matches where you're at. That's the only time I think that we're willing to compromise our stance and our values if we find somebody that matches us. But at that stage, it may not even be about marriage. So it's like, hey, take it or leave it. Whether you're a man or you're a woman, you are who you are. So, I mean, it don't really matter about conceding or being open to change. If you want that person, yeah, you could change, but that's no different than if you was 35 or 25 or whatever age, I don't know. I mean, low key, who cares about marriage at age 60, 65? Unless this is like a bucket list type of thing. It's like, hey, you had 60 years on this earth, and you just now decided you want to get married now or do this again?
Listen, yes, none of you have been through a divorce. So from that perspective, it's like, once you go through a divorce, it's like you kind of hesitant about whether you even want to do that again, right? Like marriage, you know what I mean? Like, and if my relationship is amazing and I got all the things that I need out of the relationship from what I believe that I need, right? As a woman, I'm protected. I got this, I got that. I'm not saying that I don't want to get married. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is that it's different when you're divorced and you go into another relationship. Marriage is not necessarily always the goal for women like me, right? Or for every woman. So some women have that goal even after they divorce. Like right away, they want to get married again.
What I was thinking about?
So,
what I was thinking about with that, but also I feel like the I won't call it competition, but who your peer group is different also. Like if you're like, let's say if I'm a man, all men, let's say if we're all 55, I may not be looking for another 55-year-old, even though I'm 55.
My dad showed when his wife was 31.
Yeah, 55. So the thing is, like, even if
say it again.
That's also 55. You may not find someone.
My daddy's wife was 31 when he was 55, and my kid's uncle is 4 years younger than him, 3 years younger than him. So my son's 4 years older.
When my father got married, my stepmother was like, she was like in her 40s. He was in his mid 50s. So I mean, they're both were older, but he was older than her. But the thing is, he had never got married before. So I think for him, it was something that he just wanted to do because he had never got married. It just took him some time to get to that point in his life. But the thing is, the dating is a little bit different because it's like if you a 55-year-old woman, you may not find somebody in your peer group that wants you.
That's right.
Because if I'm a man at 55, I may be actually looking for that 35-year-old, that 31-year-old. I'm not even looking at anyone in my peer group. So the preferences also are different based on your certain age. So you may look at it like, hey, I'm cool, I'm good. It is what it is. Almost like Tawana, you mentioned about some people that haven't had kids yet. Hey, you know what? I'm 40, I'm cool. I've accepted that I won't have kids, and I'm fine with that. But that takes a very confident person that knows who they are. Marriage ain't for everybody. If I was to get
I know three women who got married over the age of 50, and all of their husbands were within that age group or older. And I know women who just recently got married over the age of 50. And I was like, what made you get married? And like some of them, it was their second marriages. Some of them, it was their third marriages. So I was like,
you also, The women, the pool is different. Because the thing is, if you're a woman, you don't see too many women go down and marry a 25-year-old. So the thing is if I'm 55, guess what? I got women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s as options. If I'm a woman in my 50s, I may not want somebody in that. So the thing is,
you dating 50 and up. You dating 50 and up.
The pool is limited.
Yeah.
The pool is limited for men versus women.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Anton, I'm sure you got something that's going to disagree with both myself and
his faces are getting on my nerves. Just
I feel you irking me. So just just say what you got to say so we can move on to the next topic.
He like his little forehead. You need Botox. You need Botox.
Unmute this man. Unmute him so he could finally get it off his chest. We can move on to the next topic.
Nah, he's not muted.
Oh, okay, you're not muted. Okay, go ahead, because all I see is the little forehead.
You sleepy? You rubbing your eyes and stuff? Come on, man. You need an aspirin or something?
Nah, I'm just frustrated that y'all giving out such bad advice.
Okay, go ahead. You got the floor, man.
Okay, speak to the people. Tell them what you put them in your little box.
You have to take your glasses off to talk. I never understood why people do that. You
put them in your little
glasses off to talk. As if this shit is synonymous with each other.
They can't hear.
I mean, I'm serious.
So it's not even about.
I mean, I'm serious.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
We live life. That's it.
Like D-Nix is speaking from the perspective of a man. So when he says stuff like, I don't understand why people think this way, or he's speaking in a general sense. And this is the one thing that I think that I have a problem with D-Nix with, because it's not all simple enough to just make it like, overreaching to where you can speak for men and women. I think that overwhelmingly women want to be married. I think that men are generally in a space, especially as they grow older, that if they choose to get married, it's for specific reasons, but it's not for the same reasons that women decide that they want to be married, right? And then Tawana, on the other end of the spectrum, I think that she's giving really, really, really bad advice, not wrong advice, but bad advice to women that are of a certain age group that is in a certain space, because it is very dry out here. It is very bad. The dating scene is very, very bad for women in a certain space that is for companionship and that they do want to be married, but we're giving off this perspective like it's not a big deal, or you can, or no, fam. Like it's not as robust as we're making it out to be. Very much people are having problems finding companionship, and to take this fair perspective towards, especially giving women advice about dating, because and again, I don't know your circumstances as it relates to how you moved after you went into a new relationship, but I'm just telling you that is not the norm, especially for the overwhelming majority of these women.
Hey man, you out here talking like it's a epidemic or something, man. Like, hey,
I specifically said that I was divorced and had been married before. I am not talking to single women who've never been married, who don't have children. I have a totally different experience. I cannot speak to women who have never been married and don't have children, because I have 2 children and I have been married before. So
I didn't know. That's what it is. Speak to that group also.
Yeah, I can't speak to those women because that hasn't been my life for too long. I don't even remember when I was single with my kids.
I'm gonna tell you why.
I don't even remember, to be honest.
I'll put it like this.
Anton, you should get your relationship show, man.
I'll frame it like this. And partially because of my channel and stuff like that, but because I include my chick on a lot of the different things that I do. So my chick winds up making a lot of friends just because I interact, when we go out or we go and do stuff, I interact with a lot of female, people that view my channel, and she takes to them, right? She has a lot of the conversations, and they saying this, and I'm talking about a lot of these women don't have kids. Like, they are 35 years old. They have all ends of the spectrum as far as being Mexican, Latino, black, white, all of this. And they like, damn, it is cry out here, and it's bad. It's absolutely bad. And now they're in a space where they trying to find anything that they can get and settle for what they can get. So when I hear this narrative, like, nah, you can do it, fam. Let's not paint the picture more rosy than it is. I'm realizing that I want things to be absolutely accurate, and I don't want this thing to be any less.
I got a variable I want to pose, though.
But you know what? Can I just say this? I was not speaking to those women, Anton, because I have friends who are beautiful, fit, beautiful women who have issues dating. They have so many issues. I'm like, why? And I even question why they have issues dating. I'm like, you got everything. Like, I need to find somebody, and I don't even know nobody I can hook these women up with. Like, and I think that a lot of women struggle with it. So I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that, that having a children is the only challenge, because when you're single, some of them women have a lot of challenges that they don't acknowledge. And so
the point is that in order to really solve this problem that we're having a conversation about, the first thing we got to do is we need to be realistic. And stuff is not all peaches and cream. It's not rosy. And we need to tell both sides of the perspective, not just the success stories. We need to paint this picture.
Go ahead, Michelle. Let me hear your variable. I'm curious.
Well, and I can't speak to it because I don't know. So I'm just putting it out there. And you don't necessarily have to be the one to answer it, Tawana. But I feel like the rules are different for men. Do you it still exists where a woman has to choose kind of family and dating versus career? Can you have both? Or do you feel that you still have to make a choice? Because remember, we talked earlier about approaching your 30s, right? That's kind of like the sweet spot when the prime of your life kind of kicks off. So do you feel that you have to choose a route, that you have to choose the family dating path, or do you go the career path? Can you do both? Because I feel like with men, it's synonymous. Men can have both.
Yeah.
Women may have to choose.
Oh, that's hard, because I'm thinking about the women who I'm thinking about, and they are in very high positions in their careers, right? And they struggle in their love life for whatever reason, or they're in a current relationship that they may not be as particularly happy in, right? So I think it does come down to a struggle because, for instance, yes, I am in a powerful position, but my job is also very flexible, which makes it easier for me to date and accommodate someone else in my life, And when I was a higher up and an executive, it was very difficult for me to date. And so therefore I really only had nannies and people was helping me take care of my kids, right? Because I wasn't really in a position to give people my time at that time. So I do think you have a point there, that sometimes that dynamic plays a role in how you move forward in relationships. And honestly, I didn't see that impact until I started to be the person that really was not the provider and the breadwinner, right? Until I saw that dynamic in my life, I was like, no, that don't matter. Like, whatever, but now that is, it's absolutely the reason why, my relationship can flourish, because I do have more flexibility on my job and my end, which gives, that person more time to work and do whatever they need to do. And I can take care of the house and I can hold down things, right? When they are putting so much. So I think it does play a role. How significant of a role, in my life particularly, it plays a huge role. And I don't know if that's the dynamic for everybody, and I don't like speaking in absolutes and about everybody, but I do want to speak just to my experience. And yes, I do see that. Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to switch it up a little bit and talk about modern women struggle with relationship skills. Modern women struggle with relationship skills. I'm going to play this video for you guys real quick.
Why is this so bad for modern women? Well, unfortunately, ladies, this is where it's not your fault. You've been told to go out and get a career. get a job, focus on being you, and that's fine. But you've not been told that men are a priority or that you needed to practice your emotional relationship skills. You were told that you needed to bring resources to the table. Well, let me run it down this way. High achieving, intelligent women can sometimes struggle to have the same success in their romantic lives as they do work. When I say modern women, this is what I'm talking about. A modern career woman. You achieve well at work. And in your mind, you're not understanding. You think, wait a minute, I'm an intelligent woman. And guys would think, well, she's an intelligent woman. Then it means she should make smarter moves. No, 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 no. She's book smart. She's business smart, but she's game goofy and relationship dumb. She's practiced her book smart. She's practiced her business, but the relational stuff, the interaction stuff, she's game goofy. Her muscles have atrophied. And this is why so many people like the I'm a PhD clip, because
I'm a PhD.
It tends to be the women who are the PhDs and the masters and the people who have the most degrees that have the worst relationship skills. Why? Because they have the most educational attainment and they spend more time becoming a professional, self-sufficient, secure, independent, and never learned how that being interdependent was what was the long game.
Be next, Kevin Samuels again, and you heard his definition of modern women. How do you feel? Do you feel like modern women struggle with relationship skills?
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm struggling to try to follow. Oh boy, man, I just can't. Like, you know what? I finally figured it out.
No, you can't understand.
Yeah, I finally figured it out. I got an issue when I don't respect somebody. It's hard for me to listen.
You know what, that is true about you. That is true about you.
Yeah, and I don't even know this guy personally, but hell no, I don't. He doesn't align with my way of thinking, my worldview. Two different people. It just so happened we're both men, we're both black, but that's about the only thing we got in common. So the thing is, I was trying to still listen to what he's saying. So I guess so it makes it seem like there is an issue if you find an educated woman that her level of education or professional success presents a barrier. But why? That's the part that, like, I think that is that a man's issue. The fact that a man is vulnerable, that they can't be able to understand and match a woman that is educated and professional. Because the thing is, I don't care whether you're a man or a woman, you do enter the room and you command a certain level of respect in a professional setting. To me, I respect it. I love it. You know, I want somebody that I'm able to spar with, right? That I'm able to have these negotiating type of conversations with. And I'm going to try to not to use the word, but you know where I'm going with this. It sounds like you want somebody to submit. And I know we had a guest on the show and he was talking about you have to submit first. I get that. And maybe I'm trying to move beyond the naming convention of this. But It sounds like this brother is saying that, oh, the woman is too strong in order to know her place, that she's not able to be this docile person in order to receive and allow the man to lead. You know? So the thing is, I think there are men out there for women. Anton would just say they some simps. You know what I mean? They just some beta men. Low level, not high level, but like mid level, whatever you want to call the type of man. Mm-hmm. I just want somebody to match me. That's it. I mean, what Buddy is talking about, he represents a different audience that I can't relate to. I don't know. It's just trash, man. Like, That's Buddy's opinion.
The problem, Nick, though, is that you're hearing him wrong.
I can't relate to him, Anton. So don't even try to give me like the rationale, and then JR gonna give me rationale too. I can't respect Buddy.
But he's not saying anything wrong, because he's not saying that there's anything wrong with strong women. He's not saying that at all. As a matter of fact, he identifies these type of women as high value females. He does. What he's saying is that there's a lot of women that he interacts with that feel or wear their career as a cape, and they use that as the justification for why they feel like they're high value when they lack the interpersonal skills.
I agree. I agree with that. But see, I agree, but that's not synonymous with women. So that's my issue. Because the thing is, I mentioned this earlier when we was talking about the last topic. I said when we talked about who are high value men, right? And I said this is somebody that is both professionally successful and personally successful. I said that 2 or 3 times. And the thing is, people think that they're synonymous with the two. They're different. We see men who leverage their professional success and they suck personally, and they try to leverage that as that cape that you mentioned. So the thing is, my only issue is that don't frame it like it's one-sided.
But no, but it's not one-sided, and
you frame his things one-sided all the time.
He presented to me, I received that message as if it was one-sided.
It was really one-sided. That's the problem with him.
45-second clip. You can't take that level of detail and highlight just that out of a 45-second clip. Again, he says also, like, just because you make a lot of money as a man don't mean that you're a good person. Like, you can be trash as a, man, that'll make you high value just because you make a lot of money. So in that same way, he's speaking to women to say that, it's not enough just to view yourself as high value because of what you've achieved in your career. There are interpersonal skills that you need to work on a social level, because when you have conversations with people, maybe you come off as arrogant. Maybe you come off as condescending. Maybe you don't give a guy that would actually add value into your life a chance because you're so focused on the things that's completely based off of things that make you a vain person. And that's what I've taken from it. So what he's saying is women also do the self-development things that allow you to be socially interactive and attractive in that way also. And that way you actually can or will not have as much of a problem in the dating scene. That's all he was saying. Work
now,
on that inner self.
Like that, is that trait only found in high value women? Can't that be just found in all, like not all, but women that are not of high value, that they have issues?
The trait can be found in both. I think that the trait can be found in both, but it's difficult to assess it in that way because, again, men and women look for different things in a relationship. So if I'm a man looking for a certain type of thing in a woman, the thing that attracts me physically to a woman has nothing to do, maybe her career, or maybe the fact that she's strong or she's able to communicate more effectively in a room full of executives is a smaller part of what attracts me to her. But that's not the thing that's going to keep me with her or makes me truly, that's maybe like number 5 or 6 on the list, right? But the thing that naturally makes me more attractive to a woman may be different from what a woman looks at a man, from an attractive perspective, because most women I know are more not just from a looks perspective, but they'll put looks on the 5th and 6th tier, right? Yeah. And say, I'm looking for a guy that actually can communicate and can provide more effectively than this guy that looks good, but may not have that quality. And so that's why I say that it's different in that way, because it's all because the thing that attracts us all differently from a male and a female perspective may be different. But I do still think that
I get everything you're saying, Anton, and I don't disagree with it. I admit I got an issue with him and the delivery. I'm sorry. I have a thing about messaging, framing, and delivery. That's a sticking point for me, man.
That's the truth, because to be honest, a lot of the way I think is aligned with some of the things he said. Not all, but the way he phrased it is problematic for me, and that's why I couldn't agree with him completely. So with high achieving women, I do agree that they try to appeal to men physically, right? Like, oh, I look good, I'm in shape, I got all this stuff, right? Or like you say, they try to use logically, like, okay, these are the things that I bring to the table. Like I have my own house, I drive a BMW, I have these beautiful things, I dress beautiful, all this stuff, right? Or they try to hold themselves to a high standard. Like, oh, I'm this woman, like no man has ever been able to do this for me, right? So I have all these standards and this, that, and the third. And I'm not saying that doesn't attract men, but it's the reason why they don't get to the second level. Like that's that man that's going to stay with them for 10 years and he's just going to be with them forever. But you cannot appeal to that man emotionally. You can't understand him or, think, I guess, just understand how he think and how he feel and why he feel that way and show some compassion to him and like be able to relate to him on another level, then he's never going to marry you. He's just never going to move to the next level with you. And you can accomplish as much stuff as you want in your life, but men don't value that. And I think women have a hard time understanding that because they feel like, well, I've done all this stuff and I'm the prize and I should be, but men don't value that. If you see the woman that they marry, it's the women who take care of them, who treat them like humans, who nurture them, who have this high level of respect for them. It's the things like that women don't tune into, and they really get upset when you tell them to do those things. But it is the truth. It takes you from being that girlfriend to the wife. And see, a lot of us know that, and we do that because we are wives, right? That's how we think. And some women don't think like that. So that's all.
A lot of women think that developing the qualities that men have spent their entire lives developing also is a thing that men are going to be attracted to. And that's very much not true. I do not care whether or not you're an executive like I'm an executive. That has no bearing on whether or not I'm going to ask you out on a date. And I'm not saying that you being an executive is not going to take away from me asking you out on a date. But that's not the thing that I'm going to say. That's not the make or break. Is she an executive or not? That's not it for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's
why you see those executives marry their secretaries because it's like they don't care about that.
Yeah,
you're
right.
They don't care about that.
And that's awesome. And I champion you, and I also push you to say, "Yo, be the best version of you that you can be." But then at the same time, there's some other skills in the same way that I have to work on. Let's just say, for example, effective communication as a man, right? Men, we always have this conversation or with women that say men don't communicate as well, and we always learning that skill, right? That's the thing that has to be identified and developed. That's something that I work on. That's the same thing for women, although it may not be that specifically, but there's some interpersonal skills that she needs to also to continue to develop in the same way that she's working on her career. That I personally find way more attractive and way more, way higher on my list of things that I would be interested in and whether or not I would be actually considering whether or not she's wife material. So that's all he was saying. And maybe I just broke it down a little bit differently than
because he ain't said it like that. He said it.
And again,
he's real shaky.
But realistically, that's what he's saying. He's saying that, yo, y'all wearing this as a cape, and that ain't what we looking for as value men. There's nothing wrong with it, but also look at these things that you're not. When you call into the show, don't just say, "Well, I make this amount of money." Okay, well, what does that have to do with what I'm looking for? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
That's. I mean, it's the truth. The more things you caught, the more accolades. It's not going to lead you to a better relationship. And I think that a lot of women don't understand that, right? They look at a woman.
I agree with everything y'all both said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess we all agree on this one.
I'm gonna surprise you tonight.
What you say?
I said I told Tawana I was gonna surprise her tonight.
He did. He did tell me that. I was like, nah, he ain't gonna do it. He did surprise me.
All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight to Lapeef Let's Talk. Until next time, we out.
Yeah.
All right, bet.